Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important, just a question asker. My name is Raheen Ajame, but you could be a part of it. You could be very important and could be a part of this conversation. All you have to do is give us a call 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input this morning. Let me start off by doing this. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, a real good friend of mine, a couple of days ago. What's the day? Tuesday, so it had to be maybe about Thursday, Friday. No, Wednesday, Thursday. And he's graduated college. Got himself a real good job, doing very good for himself. But we was talking about whether or not he felt that college was worth the price of admission and what you get, and when you come out, all the prices overhead that you have once you get to walk across stage and you get that diploma, that degree, or whatever it is that you're getting. Is it really? It was having a conversation, and he was telling me that he didn't think that it was really worth it. He could have gone a totally different direction and probably did the same things or obtained the same goals that he have right now. And so he really feel as though in his heart of hearts, he really feel as though college, going to university is really not worth it. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Do you think that college and how they do it and how all the and a lot of times, truth of the matter, a lot of times people go to college, get a degree in a certain area, and they don't practice in that area. They don't practice what they went to school for. They're doing something totally different. They have the degree, and a lot of times certain jobs say that you have to have a degree in order to apply for a job. It don't say a degree in that area. It say a degree. And so what he said is he could have did something different. Um, when he came out of college, he owed, man, wow, he owed like almost like $100,000 because of the fact that he went to school and he had books and all the kind of stuff that, man, he was pretty heavily in debt. He was pretty heavily in debt. So my question to you this morning: is college really worth it? Do you think, and this is not a topic for today, we always start off with something, and this is what we're starting off with today. And I want to hear your heart on this thing, man. Do you think college is really, do you think going to college, going to school, do you think it's really worth it? 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. Tell me what you think. Do you think it's really worth it? Is going to college, is going to university, is it really worth what you're getting? Are you getting what you pay? Are you getting really what you paid for? Does what you purchase fit what you're paying for? 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Got a caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Got a caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning.
Good morning. That Badger.
Hey.
Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Oh, getting ready to go to doc appointments this morning.
There you go. There you go. Well, good to have you, brother. Good to have you. Badger, we asking a question. I had a conversation with a real good friend of mine. He's gone through college, completed everything, and we had a conversation. And he graduated years ago. He's been working in this field, doing very good, doing very well for himself. I better say it right, because my wife, she's educated, so I better say doing very well for himself. But we was talking about whether it was worth it, rather, what he got for what he paid for what he got, was it really worth it? And he said that it really wasn't, because now when he graduated and walked across the stage, he was like $100,000 in debt already out the gate. And he said that it really wasn't worth it because he's actually still paying student loans still to this day. So my question, Badger, is it really worth it?
See, that's something even I have been debating off and on Because depending on like, I was talking to my counselor about it too. So depending on like the degree you're going for and stuff, it's not a horrible thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, there are some that you can go for that might take a little bit longer to pay off,
Mm-hmm.
especially getting into teachers, counseling, psychology, especially if you're not in it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in it to really help people, that's a lot of debt that a person is taking on
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
go to get a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come out, that's why they're picky about where they work and how much they get paid, because they gotta pay off loans and survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
The worse the economy is, the harder it is to pay off everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's good. That's good. And see that's that. Well, actually, I said that long term. I say long term. We look at it short term, long term. I said long term, it is worth it. Because you do have the degree and you can go out there and make more money once you get the monkey, if you will, off your back. But it takes a long time, man, for people to pay off them student loans, man. And they're up on the 8 ball for a long time. And so let me go to Cassandra.
So
Go ahead, Badger.
I'm gonna throw this out there real quick.
Uh-huh.
There are some like YouTube videos and other things out there that actually goes into breaking down approaching a job, the exact same kind of job and things like that, but approaching it from going to college and going from the ground up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
it's quite interesting how some of them balance out and some of them don't.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, what do you say to that? And like I said, I had this conversation with a real good friend of mine, and he went through the process. He's in debt right now. Well, I don't know if I want to say he's in debt, but he's them student loans are splitting his wig a little bit. And so we're asking the question: is it really worth it? What you're getting once you complete it, walk off the stage, get that diploma, degree, or certificate, whatever you're getting, and the amount of money that you're in debt with at that particular time, Cassandra, is it really worth it?
No question about much.
Mute your line, Badger.
It is me.
Okay, I can still hear you talking. You're talking about the lunch, but Cassandra, what do you say to that?
I think I agree that for some careers, yes, it may be worth it. But the thing about education, college education in America, is that we pay all this money where you have other countries no money
Yes.
to
Yes.
further their education.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get it. We're supposed to be the smartest and, well, I use this term loosely, the greatest.
Mhm.
And but yet we have people that are in debt that are serving like doctors and
Yes.
lawyers and counselors, and they're actually serving their communities. And I mean, I think over $30,000. I'm 63. I went back to school and I have about $30,000 worth of student loans that I still need to pay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous.
Exactly.
And I'm not doing it because I'm not doing what my degree is in. I've always done what my degree is in, but that piece of paper means something when you're trying to get more money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a big fan of student loans at all.
And see, and having the degree itself, it does equip you. It better equip you to do certain things. But my thing is that the price tag that they put on that, though, Cassandra, that's the part I have an issue with. And like you just said, a lot of times, there's other countries that you go through the process and it don't cost you anything because you're actually helping the whole system. Once you get qualified in a certain thing, a doctor or lawyer or
That's right.
you're helping the whole community. You're helping the community. So why hit a person over the head with it?
Now, let me say this, Reem. Right now, of course, I think the deadline may have just passed where you could get the student forgiveness with the Republican support tooth and nail. And somebody got to help me understand the Republican perspective on that.
Yeah.
You are upset because we are forgiving student loans for people that are working to help our society, our country. Let's go this, our country. And y'all mad. See, this is the type of stuff that really gets under my skin.
Yeah.
So I put in for the forgiveness, and hopefully they may, forgive some of it, something. But right now, on my credit, the biggest thing on my credit is student loans.
Yes, exactly, and that hurts. That it really does. And when you, depending on what you're trying to do, because Sandra, they're putting attaching a wagon to you. You trying to climb up the hill, but you got this big wagon with all this stuff on it. Man, it makes it so difficult for you to get to for you and other people to get to the top of the hill because they've attached this thing to you. And it's crazy.
Absolutely.
But it again, it boils back down to it's all about the money, though. And it's crazy because these individuals that have this wagon attached to them, just take their wagon off, let them go out there and do the things that they're equipped to do to help the community. It has to there have to be some kind of value in that. There have to be a value in that. But for whatever reason, certain individuals don't want to see the value. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Yeah, I can't complain, man. I'm just out here glad to see another beautiful new day, man.
Yes, sir. Good to have you, brother. We're talking about I'm talking about a friend of mine, man. We had a conversation, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, and he's gone through the college process, completed it, working. He's doing pretty good for himself, but them student loans is crippling him, man. And so I asked him, I said, is it worth it, man? Once you went and you got everything completed, went across stage and they gave you that piece of paper, the price tag that was attached to it, that it's still gonna be a few years before he even halfway done with paying it. I said, was it worth it? And he told me straight up and down. He said, no, it wasn't. He said it wasn't because all the other stuff that's involved in it, man. So what do you say? And Cassandra was talking about, she said, we're the country that we make people pay for. Some other countries let you go to school for free. And we're supposed to be the quote unquote greatest country in the world. Rico, is it really worth it, man?
I can't say if it's worth it or not. I mean, I know Gaddafi had it to where all of his citizens could go to school for free.
Yeah.
And then we see what they're doing in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pretty much everybody that's a citizen of Dubai is rich.
Mm-hmm.
Materially, financially.
Mm-hmm.
Because they split the profits. They truly care about their citizens.
Yeah.
And their legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man, I mean, I hear that, and it really makes you have to sit back and ask the question, why?
Yeah.
Why would they try to make it so? Why would they try to price education so far out of the range to the point of where if you get it, you're going to spend the rest of your life paying for it and never truly accomplishing wealth.
Mm-hmm.
But then it goes back to the money thing, like you said, that capitalistic society. When you showed that video that time about capitalism, and the guy that makes the hamburger, and then the guy that buys the meat and pays the guy to make the hamburger, how much more profit he makes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guy that makes the hamburger don't realize he could go buy his own meat and sell it himself. So he's making a little crumbs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then on top of that, we have okayed a system that says, well, that's capitalism. It's great. You don't have to split the profits fairly. Just get rich. It's your fault if you're not a business owner or you're not an investor.
Mm-hmm.
But then they turn it right back around and make it okay to put it on the consumer to tip these same people enough to survive.
Yep.
On the consumer now. So now we are pressured because of society and trend standards. Tipping, that's the way of life. Tipping, if you don't tip, you a bad person. Well, how about the person that owns a restaurant that don't know how to cook nothing, being a bad person because they're making money hand over foot, driving Maseratis and Rolls Royces and want to pay their employees minimum wage, taking trips, vacations every other week.
Man,
just whenever they choose.
And Rico, the thing about that, not only that, man, and a lot of the waiters and waitresses out here, man, they don't even make minimum wage per hour. They make $2-3 an hour. Yeah. And that's okay. In America, that's okay. You know, the other thing, what's the use of having a minimum wage if you allowing these people to pay less than minimum wage and then leave it up to the consumer is already paying too much more money than they should for this food that you're serving. That's already overpriced. But then they got to pay. They got to do the tipping, and sometimes you got to do it right off the top with gratuity. It come automatically. Yeah.
Not only we're going to charge you $28 for this plate, but we're going to add 15% on top of it just because that's our policy. Why? Because we need to make our money.
Yeah.
And we don't want to pay our employees fair. Because if we pay our employees fairly, we won't be able to do the things we need to do. I mean, just, you know how capitalism works. So, I mean, you know, you ask yourself that question. Why? Why would they price education out like that? Why would they make it so hard for the average person to get an education? And, man, it really just go to show you what type of ball of confusion we live in this country. How we've been bamboozled into thinking that we live in an illusion of a democracy and we're the greatest country on this planet, and not understanding that we have had to live under the conditions of where you have another group of people, another society of people that come up with things like COINTELPRO, Operation Northwood. When you know you got people that plan wars and plot wars to take resources and to go and kill people like Gaddafi that actually gave free education to his people. Really, I mean that is really and truly what the problem is. Those people are controlling the narrative because they're trying to find the best way to try to control the world. And we have these issues to discuss while those bigger issues are going on around us, creating these conditions.
Exactly. Rico, let me ask you a question. We got a couple other people just came in. I want to get to them as well. But is this whole system a magic act? And it was so, man, who's the magician and who's the person that's watching the magician take them? And that's it's
a big illusion.
Yeah.
It's a huge illusion. And the people that's just casting the spell and saying abracadabra are the ones that control the ports.
Yep.
They control the resources, control the media. You know, they control what you see, what you hear. I imagine Brittany Griner might come back and tell a story very different than what we've been thinking about her prison stay. But we, you know, it's under the control of those people that control what we hear, what we see, and what we don't hear and what we don't see. The things that they say that we can't find out the truth about till 50 years later, like who killed JFK, just how many bullets it really was. Those same people that will hide and put the narrative out for so many years and feel it's okay to hide the truth. Even when you see it with your plain eyes, when you know science and you can see this man's body go in two different directions, they stick to one bullet. Those people, they control Hitler. So, I mean, we have these true issues that we're dealing with in our existence about paying interest rates that's hanging over our heads for decades that, you know, keep us that hold us back. We have these issues to deal with, and it keeps us from focusing on why this even exists in this country that supposedly gives you the possibility of achieving the American dream and living in this democracy. But the American dream ain't nothing but an illusion, and that's what we're living on, the illusion of the American dream.
Exactly. Let me go to Ibrahim. Good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Assalamu alaikum, man. Good morning.
Good morning. We're talking about we're talking about the college system. We're talking about the college system, man. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine. I think it was Wednesday, and we're talking about the college and what they get in their student debt that they have with the student loans. Is it really worth it? Is getting that piece of paper, walking across that stage, and then have to deal with these student loans for about a half of your life, pretty much? Is it really worth it, brother? Or have we been bamboozled again?
I think that our expectations exceed what we expect on return. You know, for that. I mean, you don't have to go to a 4-year college for a myriad of things. If it's about income, you can go to a 2-year social college. A lot of states, they are free for people of a certain age, or they have some mostly match what it's going to cost you. You know what I mean? You know, but I think it's our expectation and what people want to see, a label that you want to put on your chest, or a piece of paper that you put in front of you. You know what I mean? And that's the way we see it. That's what we think that is important. But in reality, we were finding out that it's not so much important, but it's not so much that our society has to develop this kind of thing, you know, with names like Harvard. Everybody can't go to Harvard. They can't get in even if they got money. Some can, nobody. But that's not the end of that's not the beginning of the world. But we need this education. Education is more valuable to the state and the community at large. You know, the state that we live in, and also the people within the state or country or nation, as you want to put it. So it's very important, because any innovation, technology, anything is very important. As medical, anything needs to be done, and a lot of states have done real good. I'm talking about United States. I'm talking about different states around the world have done well. Cuba did well as far as medical profession. You know, they supplied more doctors. At one time, even when they were not one of the richest countries, on the poorest country, they supplied more doctors all over the world than anybody else has ever had. You know, some things on the continent, some things work better on I hate to use the word capitalist society, but you know, some things work better on the capitalist side than they do on the social society. You have different type of problems with it. And America at large in the last 100 years has been a social and a capitalistic society, and they've been fighting against each other all the way. Interstate system, that's socialism at work. The post office, that's socialism at work. And then there's capitalism at work, right? Growth, innovation, the needing and stealing and fighting for taking these resources from people, produce these little things that we got, the things that we talk about right now. If we're worried about people over the world, then, you know, we should throw away these cell phones. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know. I mean, be honest with ourselves. So, but getting back to college, and that's what it all circles around to, right? I think our expectations are wrong. I tell a lot of black people that say, you know, why? I tell a lot of kids, why don't you consider about getting a trade? You know, because we talking about manufacturing. That's one of the main things to drive. What about a trade? What about welding? What about farming? The other day we were talking about cotton and stuff like that. You know, there was actually 4-H used to be a big thing. Black people and white people go to 4-H to learn about being future farmers of America, right? And that was very important, because that set the nature of the kind of crops and things we produce today. And the number. But of course, big corporations, Barclays, Farms, Family Farms, they got the economy of scale. When you talk about economics, you should put that in there, economy of scale. That's what capitalism brings to a certain thing, the greed or the want of it. And you can't have, it's impossible to have everybody with small businesses doing the same thing. I mean, how, you know, if you know, because, you know, if I had a small business, had a small farm, and all I can produce is tobacco or maybe some fruits and some pecans, peanuts, that's not enough to stay. So I have a little small farm, I'll produce it all. But I need people to manage this. The larger I get, the more people I need to help me work and manage this. And, you know, that thing's up. But the thing is, when people be looking at the money you earning, that they go crazy on this. Because I had 10 people a couple of years ago, and I had a flea market and purchasing containers and pallet sales and stuff like that. I later hired 10 people. And then some of the people will look to see the money that I produce in one day, or 3 days a week, or 4 days a week, right? And they say, oh my God, you know, I need to get more and more and more. You know, but the very reason I was able to produce this money, I was able to have equipment so people work easily. I was able to get them jobs. Under the table money, $10 on the table, which was pretty good at the time. But one brother, he started stealing. Okay, he looked at me. He see how much money I made. You know, on that day. He didn't think his son had to buy these things.
Exactly.
Had to
See right
process,
there.
had to pay somebody.
Exactly. Hold on, Mr. Abraham. Hold on for a second. Let me go to Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning? Is college, is it worth it, brother? Is it really worth it? Is it worth the price of admission? Is it worth the overhead that you have to walk away with owing once you get that piece of paper in your hand? What do you say to it?
Of course not. It's not worth it. It's another chain for slavery, because you're working now to pay a debt.
Mm-hmm.
It's all connected with the banking system, and it's really a scam. Education, and especially those colleges and higher, it was all just organized and all shaping the spirit of the people that come through. You know, you go to college, you go in one person, you come out a total different person if you buy their program. What happened through the 60s was, when it came through the 60s, that period, people were coming through the college, seeing the game and trying to change it, taking over campuses and protesting stuff. But no, it's not worth it. There's a term, I was trying to think of this term of a person that's self-educated. There's a term for it, to be self-educated. I think the direction is that you got to take your education in your own hand. What they teach you in schools, in all the schools, you know, the schools were designed. I mean, they were designed with a different purpose in mind. You know, initially coming out of slavery, education was great for us, learning how to read and write. But it was also a program to assimilate, not just assimilating, because there's a certain degree of assimilation in any society you need. You got to get along.
Let me ask you this question, and I want you to speak on this, man, because you will know better than I would. I know my granddaddy or someone like that, or in his age range, or great granddad. He did not have the quote education. He wasn't educated like a lot of people here in America is and was, but he was very successful. You know, he was very successful, man. Didn't want for a need for anything, man. He made all the money he wanted to make, but he didn't have this quote unquote American standard of education. When integration came and really happened, and then we started rubbing elbows with other individuals and getting the education, being educated in quote unquote their system. Did that help or hurt us?
I think education was good, but we sort of lost the mother wit. We lost the things we learned from nature, from being farmers and planting the seed and nurturing the seed and taking care of cows and sheep and stuff that had us tied into nature. I think with education, most of the education system took us out of the natural and took us into things that was artificial. You know, going to, you know, when I went to college, I was really locked down, but I had, like I said, things that worked out for me. So this was working for me. I was going off campus to a college in it was Berlin College, Uni College, initially then Glassboro State College. They changed it. But when I sat in those classes, man, I was so bored. I was so bored. I look at the culture and what it's about. I said, I don't want no part of this. Now the people that pulled me out of prison kept pushing me. Eddie, go get that degree. You go ahead and get that stuff. You can run this stuff. You got the motivation and stuff. But I would take collective courses like parapsychology, Immanuel Velikovsky, Collision of Worlds, and stuff. I could never matriculate for a particular area because I didn't want to matriculate. I just wanted to learn things. I saw something that interested me. I wanted to learn, but that don't allow you to matriculate.
Yeah.
You know, my grandfather, my grandmother, they didn't ever go to school. They never went to school, but they had mother wit. They had the basic things about saving, keeping your family intact. Family was the most, you know, the world is ruled by families even now. There's a few families that rule the planet, but college and education sort of puts a separation between what you call the uneducated, your uneducated elders. You begin to look down and despise them in a sense. That's what I always felt. That you look down on the past. But yeah.
That's good. That's good. Cassandra, what's on your heart? And this is powerful, man, because it depends on the individual. And I'm gonna read something the LinkedIn person said as well. It's two comments I'm gonna read in a second. But Cassandra, what's on your heart? Cassandra? Cassandra, you there? Okay. Let me go to I think this is Pastor Mo. Pastor Mo, good morning, sir. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh,
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
I was talking. Listen, I was talking, and I was like, okay, the mute button.
Mute button get you.
I mean, I have held a beautiful conversation with myself.
Exactly. But what's on your heart, though, Cassandra? Because it's a lot of elements, a lot of layers on this thing here. Is it really worth? What do you say to it?
This is what I was saying to myself. I believe that education is very important, especially in the times that we're living, because of technology and a lot of the different things that are happening, where the people are really making the money. You have to have the education to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm a huge believer that we need technical training, which is education. I don't know why people act like, if you go to a technical school to learn a trade, that's education.
Mm-hmm.
You're learning something that can make you money. I don't care if it's a welder. Welders make more money than some of these corporate folks.
Yes.
Why you playing?
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that learning is important, us getting educated, but I just hate the amount of money that people have to put into education. And then people like me at 63 that wanted to go back to school to further my education, I am now $30,000 in the hole with student loans. I really have a problem with that. That's my problem with this country.
Yeah. Wow. Let me read. This is a couple of things that the Facebook, not Facebook, I'm sorry, LinkedIn person said. It said, look at all the black college presidents after Reconstruction. I just established if you are headed down I-20 in Atlanta, the historical black colleges and universities, President Hero Highway, thanks to the legislator Misha Manor. And it also says, I am a former college coach. Let me pull this up so I can read it better. I am a former college coach, the first golf coach for Spelman College, and a tennis coach as well. And so these are some of the things. And another thing to say is, if you are over 62, you can go to college for free. They say if you're over 62, you can go to college for free. Might need to put that information in the caption on here so I can put that on the page for people to see it. But Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Oh, I thought you were gonna go to the Pastor Mo, man, before you came to me.
Oh yeah, I sure did. Yeah, he sure is. I appreciate that, man. I get caught up. Pastor Mo, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning. God bless you. God is the greatest. How are you?
Hey, doing good, brother. We're talking about college, man, college and university. And I have a friend. I ain't say I had a friend. I have a friend, and we talked. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I think. And he's doing fairly well for himself, but he said them student loans cracking the skull, man. And so I asked him, I say, is it really worth it? Is what you got from going to school, is it worth what you have to endure right now and paying all those student loans and different things like that? And he said to me, honestly, he said no. He said it wasn't worth it. What do you think about it, brother?
Man, that's me and my queen talk about this all the time because I inherited student loans. And what I mean by that is I married into student loans. I was blessed to receive a full athletic scholarship and be an academic All-American to play at Indiana University and Alabama State. But my queen grades was spectacular and still end up having student loans. And let me just say this. The issue that I have before I go back to the question is, it's people from other countries who come here and they get free education, and there's people in our own country who don't get free education. Now, I'm not knocking that. I love people. I have people in my ministry. I have an international ministry. And I love that about them, that they want education. I want to see them do better, and I send money all over the world. However, we got to take care of our own as well. You know, so I just feel that it's in the eye of the beholder, right? I mean, I work for someone who don't have the education that some, and he's worth $500 million.
Yeah.
So people have seen that they don't need a paper on the wall in order to be successful, you know. And I'm gonna just be transparent as possible. I have a degree. I'm a black man that's very educated, but a degree just show that you discipline. That's all it does. It's just. I'm not knocking master's degrees and doctorate degrees, but you can be successful without you know, a piece of paper. You know, education is reading books. Education is experiences. Education is getting a mentor, someone who's been there where you're trying to go. Education is not just between pages. I yield my time.
Good deal. Good deal. Rico, talk to me, brother. And that's absolutely true. You know, discipline, you know, but at the same time, there's a huge price tag that they stick on that thing and make you drag it along until you complete the payments that they say you're supposed to pay.
Yeah, once again, it makes me question. I mean, the brother just said something about the people that can actually get a free education. Now, true enough, you got to pay the teachers and pay the professors. But we got to look at this value system that's in place, because the way it's set up right now, even the youth feel like there's a better way to make money than through education.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe rapping. I mean, if you really look at it, you see, I'm going to ask everybody a question. Who is more important and who is more valuable? Kanye West or a doctor? Who is more important? You know what I'm saying? An attorney or Bill Gates?
A plumber.
Yes, who's more important, a plumber or let me see. I mean, I want to think of some other billionaire that's on the list. You know, we have all these billionaires. You know, who's more important, a banker or a plumber? Some people might say a banker or a bank. But if you really think about it, Bill Gates couldn't do an open heart surgery on you, nor could he tell you what you need to do for your health. He couldn't save your child.
Exactly.
He couldn't give you a treatment for cancer. He couldn't heal you of one wound. But guess what society has made more valuable? And I ain't even going to say society. I'm going to say the powers that be, the people that authorize and control and manipulate capitalism. So now, you have to go to school though to be a doctor. And it's very expensive. Very expensive if you want to be a doctor or an attorney. But how much money will you really make? Now, you might make enough, you know, to be, I mean, I ain't going to say make enough. You're going to make a good amount of money, you know, enough to be able to pay your student loans back. But you still got to get that money back out to consumer. You got to get that money back out to patients. So now we live in a system where even health care is unaffordable. We're talking about education. So now, you know, you have education being devalued more and more and more, self-sufficiency being devalued more and more, all to cater to those that can provide convenience. And those are the richest people on the planet. So if you start having people you want to idolize or people you want to look up to, well, you want to look up to the people that make the most money because they know something. Guess what? He ain't go to school. He didn't go to college. So it's like they're creating obstacles, and then they'll find other ways to deter you from going to learn the most important things, which may be how to operate on the heart, how to heal a wound, how to fix a bone that's broken. You get what I'm saying? I mean, so what I'm trying to say is that the most important thing that man needs to take care of what God gave us isn't valuable in the capitalistic system, but it's expensive. But the most valuable things and the most successful things are things that makes us more entertained and makes things easier for us. And that's why, I mean, you really think about it, that is a real confused way to exist. When you have doctors that really have more importance and value to human beings that aren't the richest people in the world, and maybe they could be the richest people in the world just because they had so many patients, not because they was overcharging, but just because they had so many people that they had to help serve. Maybe they could be on the Forbes list, but instead you have bankers and investors and resource hoarders. I mean, look at the money they invest into the military. You telling me that we can't have no free education over here? For you to get a good education coming out of elementary school, now you got to go to a charter school or a private school because the public school system is underfunded and just terrible all the way around. I mean, man, this system we live in, man, is warped, and we caught up in the web of it.
Do you think a lot of people, and I'm gonna go to Cassandra with this, Cassandra, do you think a lot of people will go to college or go to universities if they knew ahead of the game? Yeah, because it's pushed. Go to college, go to get education, and they push that. That's what you got to get that in order to be successful. But if they knew that price tag at the end of the day was going to be what it is, and it was going to linger over them as long as it does, do you think they would have made that decision to go to college or universities? Cassandra?
It's a deterrent.
Absolutely.
They would. I think some people. Were you talking to me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think a lot of people would still attend college and university. I really do. Because it's a known fact that, I mean, and it's been proven that people that have degrees, you are paid at a higher rate. You can be great at what you do. But there can be a young person that comes in, you could have been doing the job 10, 15 years. You get a college with no degree, and you get a college person, a young person graduated from college with a master's degree, whatever, in that particular area, and they will come in and they will make the same or sometimes more than you. So it is valued in our system, in our society. So we can never, underplay that. I just think that we should not charge people to be educated in our country. This country says it's so smart and it has so much money and it's so great, but yet we suck our people in areas of education and healthcare more than any other country, just about.
Exactly. Mr. Hicks, what's on your heart, sir?
Yes, I do agree. Education is important, but it's like, what is the education? You know, who's educating, and what's the purpose that they're educating you for? You know, universities has changed as the political and seems like the political and the whole push toward a one world government. You know, even now, when you think about the kids in school having what do you call them, coming in and doing the I can't, I've got brain stuck here. I think that I read something a long time ago that when Ford and all these industrials put together the educational system, they put together a system that would produce workers for the economy. We were a nation that produced then. But as we became a nation of consumers, we made the students going to school, especially higher education, part of that consumer thing. There wasn't so much about learning how to think or being innovative, creative thinking. You were going and giving textbooks and you were marking your test about how you regurgitate the answers. And the answers to the whole education is leading toward this end, this one world government. I think it's going to happen. You know, in the annals of 100 years down the line, it's definitely because all the powers that be are pushing for that. The elites, initially higher education was for the elites. You know, it wasn't for the workers that was going to Fords and go to GE and all these companies to work. But when it became a more of a man, Rico's all over it. We became capitalism now. To be an advocate for capitalism and not understand exactly what it is and what other options we have to distribute money and fairness. But again, nothing's been built about fairness. It's built about gaining power and more power. But at the same time, I think education, even going to the higher education, dealing with different intellects, dealing with people with different, with just the social kind of thing you get from dealing with people, learning how to present yourself, present your ideas, is a great thing. But the education don't stop there. They educated me one thing in college, and I was doing study on other stuff. I've always been a student, and I'm always a seeker, and I'm always learning. But my education don't come from top down; it comes from my heart out. Put on me what I need to learn. But
Exactly.
yeah. But,
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. Yes,
well,
sir.
Well, I actually left. I was working for the Department of Correctional Parole in New Jersey, and I had all the people that pulled me. I mean, they had. I was going to be a political tool for them, and I saw that they wanted to use my energy and use my intellect to funnel me into being part of the structure, the system. I'm revolutionary. In my heart of hearts, I know that something's got to change. It got to continue to change as people involved. So it's. I went through a couple of weeks ago. We were talking and threw me into a real dark spot. I was talking, and I talked about that oath to protect your enemies, foreign and domestic, and all that shit. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I apologize. I really apologize. But but the first oath that was given in my theology, the first oath was given those fallen angels that came down and decided to oppose the creator and say, "Look, we're gonna go get these women, but I ain't gonna do it by myself. We all take an oath here. We take an oath. That first oath was that. Let's take an oath. We're gonna go into these women and make babies, and we're gonna oppose the Most High." So an oath, you have to value. I would never take another oath other than to Creator. I would never take another one to a flag or and simply because I know that even though, like when I was saying, I looked down on soldiers that was good soldiers, did their job, went out and come back with ears hanging off their neck, played the whole game to be accepted by the beast and the animal, the devil. And I hated them. I hated them and was willing to destroy them. But as you grow and understand, people move at their own level of knowledge and understanding. How can I call somebody something that he believes in that? That's his choice. That's one of the things we stand. You have a choice to believe and live your life. We're trying to get a society in a world that you can do that. But here we are now, cancel culture, political correctness. You got to say this, don't say that. If you do, you got to go on without crying. If you ain't, we're going to call you something, a coon, Uncle Tom. You got to be something if you don't fall in line with us. You got to be, black folks, we all think the same. That's what they say. And we don't.
Exactly. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. We're talking about right now, at this point, we're going to shift over to another topic in a few minutes. But right now, we're talking about the education system, going to school, going to college, going to the university. Had a conversation with a friend of mine, and I asked him, he's doing pretty good for himself, but at the same time, these student loans are really causing him a lot of issues. They're really causing him a lot of issues. And so asked him the question, was it worth it? And his answer was no, because he'll be paying these student loans for a long time. Let me go to Stanley. Stanley, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. Doing good, man. We had to hear y'all voice this morning.
Hey, good to hear you as well, brother. Definitely good to hear you as well. What do you say to that? Do you think educational system, do you think what you're getting for completing it, walking across that stage and a piece of paper that they give you, the diploma, certificate, whatever it is it worth the student loans that's attached to it?
No, it's not, man. It's amazing how I was just on this subject a couple of days ago. I was listening to Dr. Umar Johnson was talking about the same thing. You know, back in the 60s and 70s, where they had the trade schools, and you could learn carpenter and electrician, all that stuff in high school, or you could go to the vocational schools and learn a trade. And black people lived pretty good back then. You know, I know guys who are brick masons who have become millionaires. I know guys who are electricians, carpenters, general contractors who have become millionaires, and they don't owe all these student loans. So I think what has happened over the years, it has been perceived that if you do not if what they call, if you're not an educated person that have all the degrees and everything, then you're not successful in life, and that is not true. You know, so a lot of people have gotten the degrees, and you know, you 60 years old, 70 years old, and you still paying student loans. It's like you never get out of, never get out of debt with those things. So me personally, you know, I don't think it's worth the effort. Not saying that, you know, the people that want it shouldn't pursue it, but I just don't think that everybody's not college material, first of all, and everybody's not military material. But I think you can be successful and have a good living without getting in all that debt. I don't think it's worth it.
Exactly. Ibrahim, what's on your heart, brother? Oh, I think we just lost Ibrahim. We'll come back to him. Pastor Mo, talk to me, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I appreciate all the comments, man. This is a great topic of discussion. One of the things that I find interesting regarding education too is, at least I can speak for myself, the people, my family members who push education didn't have education. They didn't have degrees on the wall. They had a high school diploma. None of them was motivated to go to college. A lot of them went to the military. A lot of them went to picked up, you know, trades and things of that nature. So again, I think education is in the eyes of the beholder. Now, one thing that I really find interesting too, Rod, is this. A lot of people who go pay all that money for degrees are not even using their degrees. So they spend all that money and then decide to do something else, which means that those student loans are still there whether you decide to go into that field or not. So that's why it's very important that people study and have mentors and figure out what they want to do. Because again, that's going to be a bill that follow you for the rest of your life. And then when you die, they just write it off. So just make sure that that's what you want to do. And we shouldn't just tell our kids that, you know, higher education is the way to go higher. We should just give them options. We say, this is an option. This is an option. This is an option. Whereas when I grew up, there was no option. They just said, hey, higher education is the way. They weren't talking about trade school. A couple was talking about military. But I think the biggest thing too is having that support and that mentor that'll guide you in the right direction. I give my time.
Good deal. Let's keep this thing going. Let me see who I got right now. Let me go back to Rico. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Man, you know, all of this is adding up to the price of success, and I'm gonna put success in quotation marks. I don't know. Sometimes I think we know what's going on, but we're so distracted or bombarded by so many distractions that it's hard for us to understand it. But I'm gonna tell you what they did to us right up under our noses. They showed us the situation they created for us to live in, and they put it in a game called Monopoly. You want to play? You ain't got no choice. Because if you want to, quote unquote, succeed, you got to do all these things. And when certain people start doing it, we'll move the ball. We'll make it a little too expensive. We'll make them feel like, well, you know what? What's the use of me going to school? I can't even get a job. You know, I've been here for the last 20 years. People told me that, yeah, I got my degree in something else, but this is what I'm doing. I'm a probation officer. You're a probation officer, but you got your degree in such and such. Well, hey, you got to have a degree for this? Yes. You got to have a degree to be a probation officer. Do you hear me? They put degrees on things that you really shouldn't have to have degrees for. The price of success. You know what you got to do to get a degree? You got to spend that money. The price of success. So, you know, this is the system we live in, and we love it. Capitalism, democracy, we love it. We think we have choices. You do have a choice. The choice is to succeed in this system, play our game, or just get labeled as not being successful because you refuse to play it. Maybe you choose to educate people on Saturday. Maybe you choose to do supplemental education, supplemental Saturdays, and teach your people in your community the things that they can't afford to go get from the private schools or the colleges. They might want to knock your head off. You're messing up the system. You know, when you start messing up their money and start messing up how they can create profits and inflation, I mean, just think about what we live in and then what we're talking about. I mean, in most cases, it's supposed to be obvious how important education is. But in this day and time, we still trying to stress to people why education is important and how.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people that's getting it and finding out once they get it, oh my goodness, I think I walked into something that I really didn't need to because I'm living a good life. But man, I didn't know these interest rates was going to be like this. And I was going to be paying these loans back 30 years later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
you ask yourself why. So, I mean, I go back, man, listen, man, this thing is so big. Some of the things we are unhappy about, we contribute to it and make it more successful because we want to achieve the illusion of that American dream and their ideal of quote unquote success in their words.
Exactly.
But now that success is still based on a certain existence because it ain't the same level of success as the Bolere family or the Rockefeller family. It ain't the same level of success as the Bush family and some of these neoconservatives, these international dealers and movers and shakers, the ones that have more power than money. So, I mean, this level of existence that we're in, it's about time for us to start waking up out of it and really understanding what type of a web they got us in. It's all about capitalism, profits, and inflation. You go to other countries and they can give free education, but Americans can't do it. But then we can spend an untold amount of money into the military and to black budgets and then have trillions of dollars come up missing again, like right before 9/11. This money just missing. We lost it. Couple $1 trillion gone, unaccounted for. But you got to pay student loans back. And you got to pay enormous health care fees or maybe not get proper health care because you can afford to pay the bills left from your last hospital visits. You can't go to the doctor because you can't afford to go to the doctor to find out what this ailment is you have. It's unaffordable. That's the price of success.
Exactly. Let me go to Annette. Annette, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Perfect.
Good deal. We're asking a question, and that's good. So it's good. It's good and good to have you. We're asking the question: is it worth it? Is education worth it with the student loans and everything that goes along and lingers on for years? Is it really worth it? The piece of paper that you get when you walk across the stage.
Yeah, I will say yes. Let me tell you this. My father was in real estate in California. And the one thing he did was he planned for it, right? So I took a cashier's check to Spelman College. Every semester he paid for it. It is worth it, okay? You can always put a different, adverse spin to anything, right? But how about raising your kids where they can get scholarships? Okay. How about that? How about that?
I mean,
and I'll tell you, the people who get the loans, right? The bottom line is loans. You got to pay them back. Okay. So a lot of people sometimes they spend it on other things. We don't talk about that, but pay it back. And the thing about it, we need to raise our kids so when they get the scholarship so that they won't have to pay it back. What don't we know about systems? Rico talked about systems. Let's talk about systems. Learn the system of where you need to get in the book and read the book, okay, and get the scholarship, okay? So you don't have to have a loan and you can get scholarships so that you won't have to pay it back. College is important. It's very important because guess what? What that has on your belt is that you have a degree. Okay, we can talk about Silicon Valley because I grew up in Los Angeles, California. Of all the people who have millions, but like Elon Musk and the rest of them say, hey, you can have all the money in the world, but not be happy.
But see, my thing about what you're saying and all the stuff that you're saying could very well be true. But at the same time, I know that not everybody is to a point where they can have somebody to write a cashier's check to go and pay for the college because they don't have it. You know, some people just don't have it like that. Some people not in a situation
No. Right. But let me tell you, the people who don't have it are amazing talent.
Mm-hmm.
They're amazing human capacity.
Mm-hmm.
What the family failed to do is find all the scholarships necessary. See, what we have to do is look at all of the opportunities that we have.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we don't look at all the opportunities that we have. I'm coaching, young kids today and their families, and they don't know about college app in which you can start in 11th grade. Let me see this and that. Let me see find out all the colleges that will give you the opportunity.
And that, oh, you listen. And
no, we have to stop making excuses, okay, for being great.
And that.
Come on, Annette.
And that. Now you have to yield. When I want to say something, yield, sister. I understand your passion, but at the same time, we have to do the show a certain way. But my thing is, you said in what you just said, a lot of times they don't know. They don't know. And I'm getting a feedback from somebody's line. I don't know who line that is. I'm getting a feedback from somebody's line. But you said the perfect thing. Sometimes they don't know. So are you to blame them because they don't know? And some people don't know that they can go out there and do the things that you're talking about right now. And they fall in that hole, if you will, or in that crippling situation, whereas they're having to pay all these enormous loans back for the rest of their life almost. Some people just can't go out there and have a cashier check written. Some people don't have some people, they're the first person in their whole family that's ever gone to college or universities, so they don't know. Are they to be victimized because they don't know?
No. I'm not saying that, brother.
I know. I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying you said that.
A lot of our people use the money that they get not to pay back their student loans. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
There's another side of the story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because
they don't use the money that they get to pay back those student loans. So that's why they have it. And they're 60 or 70 years paying back the student loan. No, because they used it for something else. All right. We have to tell the truth about what's really happening. And let me tell you, we're not short of any opportunity. There are no limits on us, but we choose to be adverse. We choose to, talk about, why should you go to college and all this kind of stuff. Some people do, some people don't.
Wow.
All right. We're not gonna,
I got a lot of people and that. Hold on, so stay right there. You don't have to go into a police. Stay right there. But I got a lot of people. I can't. I got to be fair to everybody for time. As a matter of fact, we just got another call. I want to go to that call as well. Leonard, good, and I know Rico and Mr. Hicks has something to say. I'm gonna come to you as well. We getting a feedback from somebody's line. I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from. But Leonard, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, in the Morning Glow family. How are you?
Hey, doing well. Asking the question, talking about education this morning and the amount of student loans that's attached to when you complete college or universities. Is it worth it?
Yes.
Okay. Explain to me why.
Yeah. It's just worth it just as much as any other reason why you would need money to invest in anything.
Mm-hmm.
That money is just an investment in education.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not sure what the actual general topic is today, but I don't associate the need with educations and student loans as a deterrent or some narratives that people are saying that it's not worth this, it's not worth it to you.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of other people, because what happens in certain situations, Leonard, these people, you have to pay this, you have to pay it back. You're hostage to it. I'm gonna say it that way. You become hostage to it for a long time. And like it was said, and like it was, hold on one second, Leonard. And like it was said in early in the broadcast, we're supposed to be the greatest country in the world, but yet still there's other countries that allow other people to go to college for free. But we so caught up on the money aspect of it that we want to allow them to do that. Now, if we did allow them to do that, think how great it would be, and how many more people will be educated to help the community and the communities and the world as a whole. if there was. But here in America, it's capitalist, man. It's all about that money.
Well, if that's, I mean, if that's your perspective, that's your perspective. People do what they want because they usually have some type of desire to do something. And whether you start businesses or go to school or start your own company, a body, whatever, it takes an investment. And if you're sitting around waiting for everything to be free, you're really not the person I focus my conversation on.
Okay.
Because that's not the, you know, the issue. I don't look across the table and tell another man what he shouldn't or does not deserve or what he should and shouldn't do like that way.
I don't think that's the same. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't. I thought you were saying something.
Yeah, no, I was saying I don't think that's the same. You know, with the what I call the handicap or the burden of having to pay all these loans back all the time and telling somebody what, looking across the table and telling somebody what they can and cannot do. I think that's two different animals.
Lots of burdens. I mean, there's lots of burdens. It's just most people who have a problem with certain things like this. I've ran into people who are just anti-education.
Wow.
So of course, to them, no, because they don't see no value in formal education. So then they're not going to feel positive about anything that anybody else does to invest in it because they're not concerned about it.
Okay. I mean, everybody got their own perspective.
Some people are. Go to law school and things, but a lot of people do it for free because of their intellect, the scholarships, grants, work programs, all sorts of ways to invest in their future.
Okay. Like I said, I don't get, everybody got their own opinion. I don't get nobody their opinion. I allow them to speak their own mind and as to how they feel about every topic they will have.
And you know, to opinions and things of that nature, we have to look at it from different points of view. And then are we trying to come up with a solution for something, or are we just trying to bash someone?
I think we're just trying to have a intellectual conversation based upon the topic that we're talking about at this particular time. I don't think it has anything to do with bashing at all. And I hope that's not what we're doing here. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Okay. I haven't been listening since I just called the last.
Oh yeah.
So I'm really not sure.
No, you good.
Have been talking about.
No, you good, man. Like I said, we're gonna let you listen in a little bit longer, and maybe your opinion might change as we get closer toward the end of it. Well, let's just see. Stranger things have happened, brother. Stranger things have happened. Rico, what's on your heart?
Well, you know, people still have their opinion. It wouldn't matter if it changed or not. But the conversation is about the cost of education. And, you know, it's true. You hear some people complain about student loans, and then it's telling the truth. They live in their best life, but they just don't like to pay their loans back. You know, a lot of rich people, Trump don't even like to pay his debts. A lot of people don't like to pay taxes. You know, some of these people that are complaining, saying it's a waste of time, is because they know they still owe, and they're so greedy that they don't like to give unless they're getting something back. And now don't get me wrong, they don't appreciate the fact that they did invest into that education. But now you have those others that don't. They actually do pay them loans back. And it's killing them. It's keeping them from getting ahead. Because we have to admit there are people with degrees that are working in that field, so they're making less money. We ain't going to put everybody in no box. Everybody that apply for student loans ain't dumb. I'm pretty sure some of those people that apply for student loan because they didn't fit the requirements for the grants and the scholarship money ran out. Ain't that something? If student loan, look, if that system wasn't available, there wouldn't be a need for it. There wouldn't be a need for it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it wouldn't exist if it wasn't a need for it. It ain't just popped up and somebody just say, hey, y'all, come and take advantage, just put yourself in debt, complain later on, and ask for something free. Because he said something about Libya. That means everybody asking for something free. Wait for something free. No, we're just making a comparison. If we are so great, how can these other countries that aren't so great have such a better education system? Number one. Number two, if you want to talk about our education system that is so expensive, why are we at the bottom of the list around the world? So somewhere we still getting screwed and bamboozled to pay for an education that really won't help us compete against people from India that's coming over here getting the jobs, people from China that's really creating and design. I mean, come on. Now, putting everybody in the box and just saying, well, you know, maybe your parents should plan for it. Maybe those parents came from a situation where they couldn't afford to save enough money to pay for it because they had to survive being black in the South from segregation or whatever things that life brings to them. Maybe they had a situation where they had family members that needed health care that was, you know, the fees weren't normal. So they had to make a decision. Am I going to take care of this sick child and get them the help that they need, or am I going to put back for this child's education? You know how many people that really could qualify to go to college couldn't because they had to go to work to help their parents? The parents couldn't afford to save money to put them in school, and that just was not enough scholarship funds. So, I mean, you know, just to think that these people that may be legitimately crying or complaining or having problems with student debt and saying that it wasn't worth it, to dismiss them and say that they're talking stupid and it's something that they did wrong, I just don't understand that. I mean, man, this life we live in, there are so many different scenarios that can happen where that student loan was a necessity or they wouldn't be able to get their education. So they had to take that risk and invest in it. And then they ended up getting in a situation where the job market wasn't a need for them. So now they got to take lesser pay. Like I said, you got a degree in science, but you're a probation officer.
Wow, exactly. And that's what happened a lot of times, man. That's exactly what happened a lot of times. We got another caller that just called in. Let me see who that is. Oh, it's our Navy. Good morning. And we're gonna go to Stanley, and then we're gonna go to Pastor Moore after that. Shanavia, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, y'all. I'm good. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. We're talking about student loans. We're talking about college, actually going to school. And it started off me talking about a friend of mine that actually went through college. He completed everything. And he's doing, you know, fairly well for himself. But he said that student loans are they're a beast. He said they are a beast. And I asked him the question. I say, is it worth it? Once you completed it, walk across the stage, got that piece of paper, is it worth what you're having to pay right now? And he said no. He said no, because it really isn't. So Shanavia, I'm gonna ask you the question, or Navy, I'm gonna ask you the question. Is it worth it? Is what you're getting worth the price that you have to pay for it?
It's definitely a love-hate relationship with it, because I question that more often than I ever did before. But do I regret it? Absolutely not. And especially as a Black woman, no, I don't regret it, because for me that was my way of playing of evening the playing field, so to speak. It's you know, I didn't going to get a trade, or a trade that was acceptable wasn't something that was pushed in my household. You know, it was either, hey, get married, maybe go to the military, go be a teacher or a CNA, which nothing is wrong with that. But you know, we're talking about whenever I was coming up versus now. And or you could go to some type of nursing school, and I'm just like, none of that really fits me. Or start your own business, which was usually in my family, like, you know, you cooking on the side or something like that. Or go be like a nanny. And I'm just like, I don't want any of those things. So I'm the only one in my family with a degree that I have. So, you know, like, yeah, for me, does it suck at times? Absolutely. But do I regret it? No. However, would I push my children to go to college versus nurturing and cultivating like what their true interests are? Because I think for most of us, especially in the Black household, all we know to push, well, some, I can't say all, but some of us know or grew up with was go get an education, and especially if you're a woman, get an education or get married. One of those two things, or somewhere in. So I mean, like for my kids, I understand that like not everybody is college material. Not everybody wants to go to the military. Not everybody wants to go, you know, offshore and do that. But the opportunity is there.
Yes.
For you to do it. So I mean, I really wouldn't the best thing about 2020 that happened is that it brought the hustle out of people.
Yes.
You really had to get back to your roots and see like some of those hobbies or some of those things that people told you not to do because there's no money in it. That's what was making all the money. When you went back to that childhood, I don't know what you call it, dream of opening up your own beauty shop, selling, cooking because that was your passion and stuff. You saw a lot of hustle that education had nothing to do with. Yeah. And a lot of those, I mean, like half of my company was furloughed for a lot of 2020 that had education. And thank goodness I wasn't one of those people because I was considered an essential worker because of my field. But I mean, 2020 brought out a lot of hustle, and I think you had to kind of look at, man, you got people that came up making six figures that was just like below the poverty line before 2020, but because of their hustle, they were able to surpass me, and I have a degree. And so I think that's where the conversation kind of got like a little like, ooh, did I make the right choice? But I have no regrets about mine at all.
Good deal. And I'm gonna read something. I think it's and that said this on the LinkedIn. I think it was her, and she could correct me if I'm wrong. But it says Leonard did it. No bashing. It cannot be intellectual if you are against college. That's the part I'm having an issue with. It cannot be intellectual if you are against college. Wow. Stanley, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Yes, sir. As I'm listening, and she brought up a valid point about a few things, and I'm giving y'all a prime example. Years ago, a lot of black people got away from agriculture because the so-called experts were saying there was no money in farming, so a lot of black people sold their land, or they walked away from their land, or a lot of them lost the property because they didn't pay the taxes and the family couldn't get along and all that kind of stuff. But if you look around now, everybody's going back to, well, not everybody, but most people are going back to farming, raising their own foods, organic food. They talking about, it's just us raising our own food, our own farm, using manure to fertilize our food and stuff like that instead of using the processed fertilizer. So it's a lot of ways for us to become successful. And success, like I say, it all depends on, it's in the eye of the beholder. Some people feel as though successful, if you can pay your own bills, you have a roof over your head and feed your family, have a nice car to get back and forth, you don't owe anybody anything, that's being successful as well. You don't necessarily have to live in $1 million home or drive the Mercedes or the Jag and all that kind of stuff. So if you're self-sufficient, you're successful. And like I was saying earlier, college is not for everybody. Everybody's not going to be college material. You think about this, the millionaires, when they have plumbing problems, they have to call a plumber. When they have electrician problems, they have to call an electrician. So the people that know these trades,
yes, sir,
are become well as well. So it's just, a lot of them, they might have not necessarily a degree. A lot of the vocational schools, and some of them did the OJT, on-job training, as apprentice, and they might have a certificate. But I know guys who have become millionaires by doing trades, and they don't have that student loan obligation. So we can't say if you don't have a degree that you cannot be successful. But you can be successful without having all that debt into your 60s and 70s.
Exactly.
And everybody that got the student loans, not necessarily, didn't pay them back because they couldn't or whatever, they wasted money on something else. A lot of them just, couldn't pay the loans back because, like I say, you have to get a decent job to pay the money back. Just because you have that degree does not necessarily mean you're going to get the job that you went to school for. So, I'll give you a prime example. My grandson is 10 years old, Ron. 10 years old. He already told me and his mom, he said he want to own his own business. He want to get into the farming. He want to get into land clearing and agriculture and landscaping and all that. So I already told him, I said, at 10, I said, bro, you can have this John Deere tractor I got.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you get another one. 23. So you can have that, and I'm gonna do everything I can. I want him to go to school, but if he don't want to go to college, I'm not going to force him to go to
Exactly.
college.
Yeah.
At 10 years old, the thing about being an entrepreneur now, I'm gonna do all I can to help him become an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
If
Absolutely.
you want to be obligated to go to school, you know, you don't have to force him. But that's just my take on it.
That's good. That's good. And let me go to Pastor Moore, then we're going to Cassandra. Pastor Moore, what's on your heart, sir?
No, this is all good. Good stuff, Ron. One of the things that I've just been meditating on is that education is not the problem. Education is an opportunity, right? So even when you go to school and get a degree, as the distinguished people on the call have indicated, it doesn't guarantee anything, right? It just gives you an opportunity to make more money. It gives you an opportunity to be successful. Now, one of the things one of the gentlemen said that I really love is that, you know, again, I'm a Black educated man, but I would never take back my experiences that I gained in college. The education was great. I learned a lot, but those experiences were life principles to help with my foundation for my future. And one of the things too that me and my queen try to teach our girls is children must be taught how to think, not what to think. So we just trying to mold to, you know, how to think, you know, how to find your passion, how to find your purpose. We're not telling them you got to go to the same HBCU mom and daddy went to. You got to do it this way. This is the only way. It's the only way you're going to be successful. But if we train our children on how to think, they will make the best decision for themselves in regards to education. I give my time.
Good deal. Good deal. Cassandra.
Yeah, you know, first let me say, over my 63 years on this earth, I've met a lot of educated fools, and I love college, but don't ever assume that because someone has a college degree that they're smarter than somebody else, or that they are. My mama couldn't afford. She was raising 5 children. She could not afford to save 1 penny toward me going to college. Not 1 penny. And when she died, my grandmother took in 5 children. She died at 29, and she could not afford to save 1 penny for me to go to college. Not 1 penny. So I had to make decisions at a young age to try to help myself to get to where I needed to get to, or where I felt like I wanted to get to. And to tell you the truth, college was not my first choice to try to better myself. It was the military. It was the military. So I went in for a little while. I had some health issues, had to get out. I hated it because my plan was to be a lifer because I felt that was the way I could get my education and all that. But listen, I feel like, you know, don't demean people because they don't go to college or they don't have the means to do college like you do or like you did. That to me is a slap in the face to anybody that has spent their life trying to achieve, success in their life. College is not, like several people said, it's not for everybody. It's just not. It's some people that even intellectually they just can't do it.
Yeah.
But that does not make them any likely to not be successful than you with your degree, your master's and your PhD. As far as I'm concerned, it's people on here that may have never been to college, but they're more intellectual than some of the people on here with their masters and their PhDs.
That's good. That's good. Mr. Hicks, I see you over there, brother. What's on your heart?
That mute button be moving around on me. A couple things, but I want to respond to that thing saying if you discuss about education, it's not intellectual. That's all. That wasn't nice. But and I think to me when I see it,
you said it wasn't nice.
It wasn't a nice thing to say. That ain't nice.
Okay,
I'm trying to be nice.
But I understand. You learn that kind of stuff going to college. The way it is, college education is an institution. So institution, even when they use the term of degrees, is going through the Masonic order of things. You get a degree. You got that degree. But meanwhile, while you're there, you're in sororities, you're in Bolé clubs, you're learning some what you call a cult, hidden kind of knowledge that y'all got some knowledge they don't have. It produces a selfish kind of person. My point is this: education don't produce people that go get this knowledge and bring it back and help their people. It teaches them how to get your degree, to get your maybe you're in your third blue degree, whatever. After you get out of college, you're still getting them degrees, going up to get to 33rd. So I don't know. Again, I've been going to college. That's what I saw. The thing being come from the street. I mean, 18 years. 18 years. Now I'm gonna come back, go to prison, college. I get the VA benefits, so I can go to college. When you go in, they get for these kids. You just sign up, you get cards, you get cash, just like that, right off the bat. Everybody. So you don't get any education. So I didn't get. I came out, got a good job because I was working. I mean, $35,000 back that time was great. I had no knowledge how to handle finance. I wasn't taught that in grade school, high school, nor college. They don't teach those things. They don't teach that fact. So getting knowledge is always your thing, but getting educated, getting your mind shaped and formed to become part of the system, not getting in there to disrupt it and change it to try to make it more fair and equity, just to go in and get yours, because it's all selfish. It's competition. You compete with your other people in your classroom. You competing for the top prize. You come out, you're still competitive. You got that competitive. I want to get mine. Not coming out and saying, how can I go back in and get my people?
Wow. Good deal. Good deal. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? You got amen, brother. You got amen. Miss Hicks, you got amen.
That's rare. I appreciate it too. I got it right that time. That's my heart, though. You know.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
yes,
around these college kids, I see them. They all snobbish. They looking down. Meanwhile, because I go to college, but I'm working right there in Camden, most destructive city in New Jersey. With these, gangs, drugs, all that stuff. And they look down on them. They get this education. Even they come back as social workers. That's why they were getting people out of prison to do it. Because these people got the degrees, they got the paper, but they ain't impacting these kids. Let's go get some of them criminals. Get them people out of prison that's doing sort of good in it. I just came along at the right time. Scared straight, all those kind of reach out. The pendulum was changing toward rehabilitation in a serious sense. And we had 87% success rate because we looked down on them because we was them and they was us. I didn't have no degrees.
Exactly. Talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
Well, everybody has some reason.
Hey, Leonard, you talking directly into the phone, brother? You talking directly into the phone for me?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Everybody has their own perspective. And for some reason in the Black community, it's always this huge debate and things like that. You know what? How about you do what you do and worry about that? Because, every time a person says something, you have to look at it from their perspective. We used to have issues where poor people didn't have access. Guess what? Now every impoverished child in America can go to school for free. But you don't talk about that.
Explain that to the listeners. They can go to school for free. Explain that to the listeners, brother.
Under a certain socioeconomic threshold, you are available for things like Pell Grant and those scholarships and things set aside for low-income subsidies. And half the time you get the grants and everything, and you can go to that college right down the street from you for free, if you so desire. This notion that, Black people got this chip on their shoulder where they believe that, one, it's not about you pleasing everyone else.
Then do you think
about you doing what
do you think it's a thing? Do you think it's a thing of in some situations of not having the drive and motivation to go out there and do better? Do you think that's what it is?
no, I'm not going to make that value judgment. For
Mhm.
whatever reason, people choose to do certain things and not to do certain things.
Mhm.
And that is personal for them.
Mhm.
However, the problem is when you start trying to make up some type of an excuse for something that you believe that you don't believe in or something of that nature. You know, the little thing with people, that education ain't worth nothing. It ain't
Mhm.
worth nothing to you, but it's worth everything to me.
Mhm.
Most of the people, you know, Negroes have this thing with you looking down on me. I can't look down on you if you think you below, unless you think you below me.
Mm.
I mean, I don't think people necessarily look down on people without education. I don't even think they even care.
Mm.
I think that people choose to do what it is they want to do. And if things don't work out, it's so easy to find fault and try to make an example out of something someone else has done or hadn't done. Just because a person is struggling with student loans don't mean that it didn't have no value. So this closed-mindedness about everything has to be this way or that way is not true. And that's ridiculous.
Mhm.
First of all, you have a desire to do something. If you want to be an auto mechanic, guess what? There are steps for you to go through to become an auto mechanic as well. You can't just work on my car just because you like cars.
Oh man, I can fix it. I can fix it, man.
Yeah,
I can fix it.
you know, so these different types of, you know, I needed my heart fixed. What you think I'm gonna let you work on my heart and you don't care nothing about education?
You don't trust me, brother?
So you trying it and think even the best singers in the world take voice lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, we have to look at the situation from where. What is education for? Education is just a tool to get somewhere. If you ain't going nowhere, sit back and keep your mouth closed.
Is education the only vehicle to get a person there though?
Yes, you're gonna have to be educated in something, some way, somehow.
Okay.
So if you don't want to do that, then automatically you're disenfranchising yourself. So you know, and I'm saying this from the point of view of a person who got one of them old rotten degrees in higher education and post-secondary education and K through 12 and public administration and all these things. What brought back to help my community?
Okay.
Or I have access to do things that some people don't have access to do.
Okay.
That's not saying anything about anyone else. That's saying about what I want to do. This is my life that I get to choose what to do. Like every person, you should be educating your children based on what it is you want to do. Okay, let's move in that direction.
Good deal.
I didn't even go to school. I didn't even go to school after high school. I went to the military. And was sitting right back in school when I got in the military, by the way.
Good deal. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. We're going to keep this situation going. We're going to keep it going for a minute or two longer. And that, what's on your heart, sis? And that you there? Okay, and that may have stepped away from the line for a minute. Let me go back to Rico. Rico, what's on your heart? Talk to me.
Education is very important, man. I think first of all, to me, education and training go hand in hand. You know, somebody had to teach you how to walk. Somebody had to teach you how to write, how to spell, how you say your ABC. That's education. You're going to learn to be able to survive and cope. But education is so important to the point now that, well, once again, the point is not the importance of it, but the cost of it. See, if it could get so expensive to the point where you go and pick up the wrong education. Or maybe you just don't have parents that realize that you know how important it is so they can help you make it through the primary years of public education to guide you down the right path. For whatever reason. You know, and it's true what you said. Some people just aren't motivated. That's the reason why they're in the situation they're in. That's the same reason why some people are struggling with student loans, because they don't like to pay their bills. They like to consume, but they don't like to, you know, pay their debts, you know, unless they're getting something out of it. So I mean, you know, there are different situations that cause people to be in that in the mode of where they'll say, well, it was a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just speaking from that perspective of would I do it again? Would I go back to school again and pick up these same debts? Or would I just continue to do what I'm doing? But they're speaking from emotion, because if they didn't have them debts, they probably wouldn't be living as good as they were living. You remember you said he was doing pretty good too.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So without that debt, he wouldn't be doing pretty good. So, sometimes you have to be a little bit more appreciative. But at the same time, I brought that up about the supplemental Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does need to come back to those people that really do want the opportunity to learn, but they don't have the opportunity because they didn't come from the right background. They don't have the right support system to support what they need, maybe even if it's transportation,
mm-hmm.
or maybe even if it's just Wi-Fi to have access to do extra work or to fine-tune some of the things they're interested in away from school and that the school doesn't teach them. They don't have that access.
Mm-hmm.
See, access to an education is the problem. I don't know how it even got spun to a situation where it was even questioned whether or not we thought education was good or not. I think we all know education is good because somebody taught us how to brush our teeth.
Yep.
And wash our faces.
Mm-hmm.
Some, we just didn't come into this World Peace program. We've been getting education the minute we opened our eyes and took our first breath, looking at our parents' mouths and moving our tongues and trying to see how to move our mouths.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? We've been getting educated. So, the importance of it, I think it's pretty moot to even bring that up. But now when you want to talk about the real issue of what you brought up, and then the problem at hand of why education is not even respected or appreciated or not achieved, is because there's a cost.
Yep.
For you to get to be a doctor, for you to become a doctor or an attorney, not only is it a lot of amount of time that you have to go to school, and then you need to go to a school that's really good for what you want to be a doctor in or whatever, but it's expensive. This ain't free.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if we got away from it, but with it being understood how expensive it is, going back to what Hick said and what I said earlier, some of those people that know it's expensive should take the time to come back and give some of what they learn at a discounted rate, if not free. And it ain't about somebody sitting around waiting on something for free. It's about just knowing that this is what it is. And there's some people that deserve this education, but they may never have an opportunity to access it because it's too expensive. The cost of success, the price of success, the cost of education. That's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And Libya is free.
Exactly. Let me go to Navy, and we got another caller. Navy, what's on your heart, sis?
Okay, the mute button had me too. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know if I can add any more than what everyone has already said, other than the fact of for me, and I do like what Rico said about paying it forward. And I think, like, for me, I can't speak for everyone, but I would like to think to some degree we will all like to come back and pay it forward in some way, shape, form, or fashion to our communities. I mean, like, there are things, like I said, like for me, there are things that I learned that maybe my mom or my dad or my pops didn't know that I get to pass on to my cousins, my sisters, those that went to school with me. I have people from my community that come and ask me that are now, interested in the field of social work and counseling and things of that nature. And so I don't charge them to let them know, hey, if I was you, I would go this route because I bumped my head doing it this way. Or if I were you, like when they come and ask me for information, I don't charge them for that.
Yeah.
Because I want you to go farther than me. Like I thank you for saying that you want to be like me, but be better than me. And if I can help you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, of course I'm going to give you that. I'm not going to charge you to give you something for free. Like I had to get it. I'm not just that person that's going to be like, well, no, I had to learn it. I had to pay for it, so you're gonna have to pay for it too. No.
Mm-hmm.
So I do appreciate those that do come back and pay it forward and set up, scholarship programs and set up mentoring programs that otherwise would not be afforded in our community. I mean, we talk about taking care of community all the time. So why not use the tools that you have learned or that you have gained to come back and give it to those that want it?
Exactly. That want it. Yes, absolutely. And Paul said in in the stream here, Paul said that education should be free. He said that education should be free. And that would be a great, I mean, to me, that would be great. Educate the people, make sure that they go out there and now you're adding to the society in which we live in, because you have more educated people. They're making more money, they're doing different things and uplifting their household, their family, and their community. But not everybody see it in that way. Toussaint, good morning, sir. Hi. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I just wanted to, if I could say this really quickly, there are countries where they allow their people to get their education, and then they give the state like 2 years, of work in that particular field, in their country. And I think even if we did that type of thing here, educate, like the doctor or whatever the person is doing, and then they have to agree to do 2 years, or whatever amount of time the government says to work in that field. You know what I'm saying? You're getting paid, but you're working in that field in your communities or around your state. Why wouldn't that work?
I think it would. I think it would, because you're getting what you want, and you're helping the community in the process. You're helping the community. That's your way of giving back. That's your way of paying the bill, the debt that you have acquired from being educated. And then after that, if you can decide to continue in that area, you can. But if you want to step outside of that 2 years, that 3 years, whatever it is, you have the freedom to do so. Now you're debt free. Go do what you do.
Right.
Yes.
Also, just as you're talking about it, there are those programs. That's why they were created. The whole issue around public service, for instance, that's one of those programs. Most lawyers are, when they go to school, participate and give service to the state in terms of, pro bono service. That's what the pro bono program is about from the legal side. There are lots of programs that do those types of things. It's just that one, people who are not concerned about them don't know about them. But they're not concerned about them. But if you go ask all those kids in college right now, their plans, they will tell you, oh, this is how I'm doing it. This is what I'm doing. This is the program I'm in. Even those programs that are now, say for instance, with the Urban League and these things like that, working with those guys out there, that's really part of their whole program, is getting people plugged in to these opportunities if you're trying or want to be a part of them.
Wow. That's good. And it's good that I wish I had a list of different ones I could actually post so people could know what these programs are and that they do exist. But let me go to
Teach America. Teach America is the big one.
Teach America. Got you. Let me go to
that's supposed to go into education.
Okay. Good deal. We just lost Toussaint. Hopefully he gonna call back in a second or two. We just lost, so hopefully he gonna call back in. So let me go back to Annette. We went to Annette a few minutes ago, but she maybe stepped away from the line. Annette, are you there? Annette?
I am listening.
Okay. What's on your heart, sis?
Hey, no. I mean, I love the conversation. I believe that anytime that you can get educated, it's proper. Anytime. Because you have to have certifications for a lot of different areas, whether it be the tech fields, and as you know, California, Silicon Valley has opened up, but they had partners and they got together and they had certifications. So all I'm saying is, hey, however that you need to get educated, get educated. Get educated. Stop this bias of education. Get it. Because whether you're building homes or whatever, you got to learn how to build a home. You got to learn how to put the electrical wire in. You got to learn how to put the plumber. And my father, who was in real estate, always said you need to know a plumber, a lawyer, an insurance agent. You need to know the milkman. He had a number of people, and he said you need to know your grocery stores, right? So we need to just be educated, even to what we eat, what we put in our bodies, because some of what we put into our bodies, they have pesticides in them. So I heard somebody say it, but that's real. did a presentation in San Francisco, and we're continuing that presentation to a white paper. So being educated is so amazing. And I want us to consider how amazing it is instead of seeing how adverse it could be.
Okay. Okay. And see, like I think Leonard has said this earlier, it's important to the people it's important to. Some people, their journey to success, their journey to love, their journey to happiness is not going through a college or university or the educational system. It's other ways in which they want to get to where they want to be. And you can't fault them for that. You can't fault them because everybody have their own way that they want to live their life. Stanley, what's on your heart, sir?
Hey, come back to me. I'm loading some in the car for my wife.
Okay, good deal. Mr. Hicks, talk to me.
Oh, yes, sir. I was can I do it real fast? What is the definition of education?
Education means the process of receiving.
Oh, sure. Anyway, what it said was, and I think that's what my confusion was. Education is when you send the child out of the house from whatever structure you got in the house, now how to learn how to be a citizen. He's going to school. He's going to how to become a citizen. So education is connected with institutions, buildings, learning, and that's what I see the confusion is. Learning is different than education. Learning something and being taught something, a skill, is not education. You sort of like what they call a apprentice. You're apprentice to us, and you're learning that, not being educated. Educated is institution. It's with rules, structures, degrees, grades, and all that stuff. But I wasn't knocking. And my point was about learning. I went to college, but in my off time I studied all different subjects. They going to college would quicken my desire to learn. I had the desire that was established, but going there and watching people sit down and focus on learning particular subjects was a great catalyst for me because I used that in all my studying. College is a discipline. I think somebody put it in thin air. It is a discipline.
Yeah.
And it's aptitude. Some folks have the aptitude, the personality type that would fit in that, and other folks don't. And when you try to pigeonhole and make people go to college and go in there, I got my son, a daughter, I got all of them. None of them using their degrees, but it taught them them how to communicate, how to negotiate, and how to fit in to that world. So I'm not knocking education, but I'm expressing the desire to learn, independent study, learn about everything, learn, because what they teaching you, and it's a fact, what they teach you in them schools, it's not the truth. It's a fact, but it ain't the truth.
Exactly. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Phone lines open. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. A lot of great things going on this morning with this conversation. Let me go to Paul. Paul, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning. Education. So the question was, what was the original question again? I want to make sure I answered the original question.
Well, the education, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Everything that you do to get to that point where you walk across that stage and you get a certificate, degree, or whatever it is that you're getting, and the amount of money that you have to pay back, is it really worth it?
Okay. Yeah, I think it depends. There's definitely some degrees out there that aren't going to pay the bills, and then people are ending up with all this debt. The Biden administration made it easier for people to discharge their debt, which I had mixed feelings about because, I had to pay back my loans, and it's like I was poor for a long time from college, and, it was a choice. Nobody forced me to do it. I do think that it's way too expensive and all that. A lot of countries have free college, and then like Cassandra said, some countries have ways for students to pay back informally, or not with money but with time. But like, you know, other people have said, like, some of the smartest people I've known never went to college. They just, you know, they like to learn. They read on their own. No, there's no test for it other than life, other than just the pure joy of learning about life. You know, that's the best learning. Not like, you better read this book or else. You know, that kind of learning is, that's like under fear of, you know, consequences. That's not the best way to learn. The best way to learn is you just go, here's some books, find some stuff you're interested in, explore your passion, you know, because then you're going to do better in life, I think, when people do the things they want to do, study things they want to study. I guess a couple lessons I learned from college is, and I think college could do better, is how to ask questions. You know, because a lot of times that professor up there is like, I am the sole arbiter of what is right and wrong, and don't dare question me. Like, you do run into those type of people, but asking questions, yeah, and that's definitely one of your strongest suits, Raheem, is like, you're great at asking questions. That's why this show is successful, because you ask these great questions. So, you know, that's the thing. And then I think the other lesson I learned is like, kind of how to take your lumps, you know, because like, you're going to run into people who are maybe have better memory, better rhetoric, better speakers, and all this stuff. And they may not be smarter than you, but they just have a better skill. So, but you learn, okay, I just debated this person, talked to this person, and you know, I just got kind of beat up rhetorically, and then, you know, kind of you learn to, okay, I'm going to come back and do better next time. So that's how I feel about it.
Good deal. Good deal. Anybody have anything else they want to say on this particular topic before we move to our next one?
I just wanted to add something right quick, Mr. Raheem, to what Ms. Cassandra was talking about for healthcare workers, therapists. There is something called HRSA. I cannot tell you exactly what those what those letters stand for right now, but that does also help pay back student loan debt, which is what my clinic does. If you are willing to basically get back 2 years working in this particular county or another like desolate type area to where like it's needed, then they will help you pay back part of your student loans. But each year that you renew that that contract with them, then they'll pay back an additional $25,000 of your student loan.
Wow, that's good. That's good.
And that's already 4% agency.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Anybody?
Hey, Rob, I got one more comment.
Yes, sir.
And for the folks that want to pursue a higher education at the age of 62 and higher, in the state of Georgia, you know, you can go to college, state college, free at 62. All you have to do, you won't have to pay your tuition. You have to pay fees and your books, but you won't have to pay the tuition.
Wow.
That's for the folks at 62 and above that want to go.
That's good.
You know, like to me, they would have moved it up earlier, because at 62, most people get ready to retire, but you know, they do offer that for the ones that want to go back at 62 and above.
That's good. That's good. Then to bring that thing down a little bit, ain't it? 45 or something.
You know what? I'm looking forward to it.
You gonna take advantage of it?
It's good. Yeah, it's good for people that want to pursue higher education. At 62, you're not really old. You know what I'm saying? You still have time to do some things. So, yeah.
Man, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because I went back to school. This last time at 58. So that's the 25,000 to 30,000, whatever it is now, that I need to pay back. But I went back at 58, and so I missed that thresh, that 62. Now I can finish up what I started, you know, at 63. I can go ahead and go back, but I'm so concerned whether they're going to forgive the 25 to 30,000. I don't know how they're gonna get it. That's all I don't know how they're gonna get it at this point, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. That's good. We're about to change the topic a little bit, and and I'm concerned about how we're going to handle or tackle this particular topic. But I'm gonna start. As a matter of fact, Stanley, I'm gonna start off with you, brother. You there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Asking the question, in this day and time, with all the people that we're dealing with in today's time, the younger generation, if you will, are they more concerned? What if they had to, if you thought they had to make a choice between money and God, what would they select?
Well, the younger crowd, the majority is money. And I say that because that's what they see mostly flaunted in front of them, whether it be on TV or video, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. And that's what this young generation is concerned about, trying to be basically in the spotlight. And I tell you, one of the worst things they could have ever to put on TV, and I know you don't have to watch the TV, but people do, are those reality shows. On the rappers and the wives, the real wives of the Potomac and Hollywood or whatever. They're showing how these people have all this money, but they don't show the sacrifice that people have to go to actually get some of this money. So the young crowd is more caught up in the materialistic things. And I tell folks, I'm gonna get real country for a minute, Rob.
Come on.
People don't understand that if you were like me, I'm a 60s baby, I was 59 old, so they don't understand the struggle that we had growing up. They've never slopped a hog, they've never milked a cow, they've never fed the chickens, they never went out there in the field and picked peas and beans and watermelons and all that kind of stuff. So they don't understand the work ethic that we had coming up in the 60s and 70s to try to get the little stuff that we have now.
Yeah.
Everybody wants instant right now. They want the microwave popcorn. They don't want to pop jiffy pop like we used to pop growing up in the frying pan on the stove.
Exactly.
Everybody wants it instantly. And that's what's being portrayed to them, that everything is so easily gotten. And that's not true. So most of them were choosing money. Because if you look at the churches, a lot of the kids don't even go to church on Sunday.
Exactly.
We was growing up, you didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't all you go to church with. No, you get your butt up, we leave at a certain time, you be in the car.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know, but now they ask if you want to go to church with me today, I don't feel like going. Okay, I'll see you when I get back. No, my mom and dad and grandparents, if we going to church on Sunday, you're not going to live around the house while we go. You're going to church.
Exactly.
But now everything is so optional, man. It makes it so easily for these kids. So they would choose money over God. I don't have a problem saying that.
Wow. Cassandra, what's in your heart? What are your stance on this, man? These young people today in today's time, they had to make a choice: money or God. Cassandra, what are they selecting?
Oh, all day long, money.
Wow.
All day long. I'm sorry, not all of them, but the mass majority. Listen, I work on sets every day almost with young people. These kids don't go to church. They don't, and you ask them about God, they don't believe in God. Boom, 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 and this is why. And they have all of these new age beliefs and whatever. So they are definitely choosing money over God. And our media and our social media platforms promote that denial of God and his existence. And it's all about making the money. And young women, and I work with women in the sex industry. When I tell you, a lot of them have no desire to live a moral life because the money is on the pole. The money is in playing men. The money, it's all about money. So yeah, God is really secondary with a lot of these young people today. Unfortunately, no, wait a minute. Not a lot of the young people. A lot of these old geezers like me doing their own thing and they paying God no attention.
Why I gotta be geezers?
Well, I'm an old geezer. I have no problem with that.
I'm just trying. I'm just Lord.
Oh boy.
Okay, old geezer. Okay, if that's what it is. Okay. Well, we got
I'm
a new.
a cute old geezer, though. I'm a cute old geezer.
Okay.
What you say?
Oh, look at that. Look who just come in, Tucson. When you say that, Tucson, pop up. Look at that.
Hey, look, you know what I thought about when she said she's old and then she mentioned something about the poll? I thought about Fistful of Dollars. I don't know why.
Lord Jesus. See.
Oh, that mercy.
Tucson, we asking a question, brother. Excuse me. And I want to get your feedback on this, man. We asking a question this morning. And what we're asking is the young generation today, they have to make a selection. They have to select what they want between the two. They have to select between money and God. Tucson, what are they selecting?
Money. They're going to do it anytime. And then some old folks going to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Most folks. Maybe I shouldn't say most folks, but I'll say 50%. 75. There's a way that leads to destruction that people are running to. They've been doing it for years.
Mm-hmm.
Narrow is the straight gate or road to that straight. Few there be that find it. Few. Not a lot of folks. Did I miss something?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't write it, but is it in there? That we gonna have people crowding in to get in to live righteous? You think so? When you gonna start? When did it ever start?
Mm-hmm.
When did it ever happen? That people say, well, we're just gonna live for God. And some people just come right behind and say, who is he?
Wow.
We ain't gonna have that slave mentality.
Mm-hmm.
To be serving under somebody. There you go with that God thing again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you talk about that money. I see some stuff, man, and it pops up, and I don't know what it is. And Cassandra, maybe you can answer this, and that's why I'm just saying, why is it so? I don't know what it is. Does Facebook pay our young females to shake that thing like a sausage?
Oh Lord, Lord Jesus.
Shake.
Okay, Tucson. You know what the corner.
Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. Please don't cut me off. Oh, y'all know I'm right. All you gotta do is look. Y'all know I'm right. It might be funny, but y'all know I'm right. I'm talking about they be wearing that camera out.
Somebody pray for him. Somebody pray. Somebody go to prayer right now.
Y'all know I'm right. Y'all know I'm right. You know I'm right.
Leonard, I'm coming to you, Leonard. Hold on, Leonard. Go ahead, brother.
Leonard, you know I'm right. You know I'm right.
Hold on, Leonard. Before you go, we got another call.
I'm gonna mute my phone.
Please mute your phone, please. Friday. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
How you doing?
How you doing? Doing good. Friday, we asking a question. I need to hear your whole heart on this. In this day and time, the young generation, they have to make a choice. They have to make a choice and select one or the other. Are they going to select money, or are they going to select God? What do you say? What are they going to do?
Well, the smart ones, not the ones that think they're smart, but the smart ones, they're going to choose God.
Mm-hmm.
Because He's going to make whatever they go through to make the money show up.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else, because they tend to follow what they, the trend, all this stuff, then they're going to be like, show me the money. Give me the money. Because they think that the money's going to make everything else be what it needs to be. And then, yeah, you might get some, but then you're going to realize real quick that it ain't all that. But to the question, yeah, I think the majority is going to say taking the money. Because a lot of times that's the first indoctrination that they get paid, get money, get bag. Then after they live a little while or come across some hardships, then they realize, oh God, oh yeah, tell me about this guy, so I can try to figure out how to get out of this situation, so I can get more money, get more bags, get more, you know what I mean? So unfortunately, I would like to be able to say like, oh yeah, the youth are going to say God's word. I think there is a portion of the generation who is being stirred and steered towards God and seeing and showing that you can have all those things because He's going to add it to you if you choose Him first. However, the great majority is going to say, give me the money.
Wow. We got another caller from the 404 area code. 404. Actually, we got two. Toya, we come to you next. We got another caller from the 404 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning. My name is Shairi. Can you hear me?
Yes, it's a little bit low. Are you talking directly into the phone?
No, I'm not.
Talk directly.
Okay, I am now.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me better?
I certainly can. What's your name, sis?
My name is Sairi.
Sair?
Sairi.
Hey, good morning, Sair. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Hey, doing well. Thank you for calling. We definitely appreciate you. We're asking a question, Sair, and I want to hear your heart on this. The young generation today, in today's time, will actually have to make a selection between one or the other. They have to either select money or they have to select God. What do you think they're going to select? What do you think the young generation is going to elect to walk with?
Well, actually, the God of Mammon is money. So even the ones who say God, they might be choosing money when they're making their choice. Some people will say God to be politically correct and so that they don't sound so shallow. But even people who say they choose God actually opt for the money. When you look at the way a lot of the pastors and preachers are carrying themselves, they are not representing the Spirit of God and followers of Christ themselves. So it sounds okay to say money, but even if the children of today, the generation today say God, they may be thinking about how they perceive people who think they're blessed and how everybody who considers themselves to be blessed actually are measuring that by what they have, material things. So, we have to actually get our foundation with followers of the creator of everything so that we're not so close to the God of Mammon, which is the God of things of the world. And I will say this, I am a former adult entertainer and I help women transition out of sex work. So this is a conversation I have a lot. The question I ask is, would you rather have freedom or security?
Wow.
And then that will give you what they really want. And so because when you choose one and you don't allow them to have, because I want both. If you got to pick one or the other, that's a more authentic question. And that's going to get them to answer more honestly. And then you'll be able to go from there. But if you don't choose freedom and you choose security, you're locking yourself into probably a system of the world. And then you understand that.
That's good.
Once you get God, favor always will trump finances. Thank you for taking my.
Says I appreciate it. I appreciate what you brought to the conversation.
All right.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. I'm in love. I need her information, please. That's my area. Please, let's get in touch, baby girl. Please.
Absolutely. Mr. Hicks, what do you say to that?
Make sure that we get in touch.
Absolutely.
Okay, baby.
Good deal. Mr. Hicks, what do you say to that, brother? What are the young generation? We're talking about the young generation now. What are they going to select? They're going to select money or they're going to select God? What do you say?
Sister just on before me, she really said it. Even when they say God, even when they say God, it's, you know, you see them getting their awards and they'll say, I thank God and my Savior, and they do that. Again, it's as if when we send them to school, when they come out of our homes, even if you have a good Bible base or religious base, whatever, in your home, you send them out to the school system to be educated. And they get theories like Darwin theory, evolution, the Big Bang theory. They get all these different facts, which clashes with what they've been taught from a purely verbal thing of the scripture. There's this one clinical psychologist, Jordan Peterson. He sort of deal with breaking down the stories in the scriptures from a clinical psychological point of view. He'll go through the thing of like, he'll present the foundations of this civilization in a sense that you can, that it combats against the different theories that the kids are exposed to. So they go out into the world and they hear about evolution, Darwin, and Freud, and we want to have sex with our mother. And that study really came from him studying Europeans. It wasn't us. When we hear that stuff, it's strange to us because that's not part of our whole thing.
No.
What I'm saying, so there's a class. So when you begin to have someone that don't have a belief because they're confused, you've got to sort of break down how doing it to others as you have them doing to you, the laws connected with that. And the belief in then sort of clarifying, combating what's popular out there. You look all over YouTube now, different things, the Anunnaki, different aliens that came down and that's the fallen angels that produce these giants and stuff. So there's a lot of confusion, and you've got to be able to more than talk to them about it. You got to be able to show them in your walk, show them how you make decisions. And how you don't impose, but be in position when they come and ask you a question that you study to show yourself approved, to break this down in a layman's term where somebody can apply that to their life.
Exactly.
But
I got to do this before we move on. I see my mom. She's come in. I want to say good morning, Mom. I love you, baby. Good morning. She's actually watching, so I gotta do my shout out to Mom every morning. Toya with a T. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
That's my girl there.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. Toya, back to the question. This young generation, and you deal with them every day. What are they going to select? They have to pick and choose between one or the other. Are they going to select money or are they going to select God? What do you say to that?
Well, the fortunate part is that even though they call on God, they really don't have a true understanding of it, right? It's only there. Right? I don't think they even connect. First of all, they don't know what mammon is. And everything that Hicks just said, they sure don't know none of that. Very few of the young ones understand all of that now, but you are starting to see them get a little bit more inclined to who and what God is, because you see it all over TikTok and YouTube. However, 90% of what we see is going to be a part of our daily routine. And all we see is money, 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 money. And I think a part of the foundational values that we're forgetting to instill in our children, other than God, is the things you do for money, the love of money. And being a female, being an abused female, being a female that was very promiscuous, I understand about, being a stripper, but I was still taught that's not how I want money. Certain ways, I just don't want money. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't want to sell poison to your people for money. You shouldn't want to, you know what I'm saying? There was a list of things that my daddy talked to me about when I was younger. Then he explained to me that money is not everything. And again, we talk about this all the time about how we're not home, we're not accessible, and we're not even educated. And our kids don't even know these things. So now they're tossed in a world to where when they do say, oh God, it's not because their parents taught them. It's because that's what we hear. Oh God, everything you say or do, oh God, what? Jesus Christ, TV, Jesus Christ. They don't even know who Jesus is, but they're saying Jesus Christ, oh God. And they're saying that because of culture. They're not saying it because we teach or taught our children who God really is. So many of us walk around on a daily basis and don't know God is in your life because you're walking, breathing, and talking, baby. That's how you know he's there. But we don't teach our kids these foundational things. We're caught up in the rat race, and we have our kids caught up in the rat race. And oftentimes, God is coming to put himself in people's lives because we've all forgotten about him.
Yeah, come on.
You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? I mean, please, don't get me wrong, but I knew who God was before I got in the streets and started tricking and jumping and driving and selling drugs and selling dope and doing all this other stuff. I knew who he was, but I did not want that. You hear me talk about it all the time. I was possessed. So when you're possessed under the devil, of course, you're going to think about the money part, the prosperity, but how are you becoming prosperous? Through the devil or through God? Which, when I say God, it's the good one, not the bad one. Are you getting money from being wicked or from good? Now, you want to put an entity's name on that, go ahead. But you're an entity and you have a name, and so does God. So at the end of the day, when it comes to, you know, who or what we're choosing things that is a culture. We don't even know that we're supposed to choose God over money. We don't even know that when it comes to prosperity, because they have a lot of us brainwashed, God wants us to be prosperous, but he don't want us to be prosperous through doing wickedness. Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's like, even though our kids or our children think they know what they're doing, they do not, because we have left out so many foundational values, and we're just walking around growing, and they're growing up like chia pets. And when they do say, oh God, they really don't know who they're saying or what they're calling. And when they really think, you know, they're selling drugs or selling kids for money. And, you know, I've come across people who have, well, I ain't gonna say people, I came across one female driving Uber who said she did that, and she did, right? But again, you can talk to her and tell that her foundational values that came from her home, it didn't have anything to do with teaching her the values of money. It was money over everything. Good, you know what I mean? Yeah. So we have to really be careful with our generation, because they're coming from us. And if they don't know about God, it's us. And if all they know is money, that's what society has helped us teach them.
Good deal. And I asked the question from what you just said about the young people. And I ask this question all the time: what does it profit a man to gain the world but to lose his soul? What does it profit a man to gain the world? You gain the world, but you lose your soul, man. Somewhere along the line you missed it. Leonard, talk to me, brother.
You know, I'm just listening because sometimes I can get real critical.
And
I didn't care for your question.
Say it again.
I didn't even care for the question.
Okay, brother. You sound like you're angry. Go ahead. What's on your heart?
It makes me feel.
He's not angry. He's critical.
He's critical. Okay, yeah, he's critical.
Certain way when someone pits money against God.
Wait a minute. Say that part again. There's what now?
I don't understand this or. You don't think about God and money.
You don't think that people will pick the ways of the world over God and obtaining the material things over God?
You didn't say that. You said money.
Well, you know what I meant. I didn't know I had to be so to the point about what I meant. I thought you'd be able to understand what I meant. I didn't think I had to explain it to you like that, brother.
If people are going to debate something, they should at least know what to debate.
Okay, money over God. Money or God.
Someone said something like God or money. I was like, well, I'll take the money because one, you certainly don't have God. You certainly don't. And you can't decide how much of God I get, when I get it, or what he does for me. So how are they two even comparable?
Well, I see, and even with that, I could disagree, because I see we all have God. It's just a matter of, do we accept him or not? Do we accept him in our lives or not? Because he also gave us free will and free to make our own decision, to make our own choices. He give us that, but that don't mean that he's not there. It just means that we selected at that particular time to go in a different direction.
People who don't never see, you know, because see, money is a vehicle to get things done. You can do the work of God with money. And so if we, you know, some people take it out of context when they, you know, like say, for instance, you know me, I'm very frustrated with some of the conversations that we have on this show related to wealth, and prosperity.
Yes.
As if these things in Christianity don't go together. What's the issue? Why, you know, this constant belief that the preacher ought to be broke because he worked for God.
Now, I don't think no one said that, brother. I don't think no one said that. Now, you know, that's a stretch.
This narrative is very heated among Black people when it comes to prosperity and things of that nature. Now, y'all not sitting outside nowhere in shacks and things, are you? Or are any of you homeless or anything of that nature?
But see, I think what we're doing, right now, I think what we're doing right now, Leonard, I think it's getting a little diluted as to what we're talking about, because I'm talking about the young generation and the young generation in this day and time. If you had to pour 100 of them and ask them, what are you going to select? What do you want? Do you want money or do you want God? And I want to know what their answer would be. And that's the question I'm asking right now. What would their answer be? Would the answer be they want to walk with God or they want all these material things?
What was your answer?
My answer is God all day long. And you know how I feel about that, brother. I'd rather have God's favor than any amount of money you ever could give me. That's just me, though. I'd rather have God's favor than, I don't care. You could write me a check. You could write a check out with $1 billion on billion with a B and say either you can have this $1 billion or you can have God's favor. You take that money and go about your business, brother. Give me God's favor. That's just me now. You ask me personally. That's where I stand.
Isn't there a story in scripture about a rich man who asked God this question about how does he get into heaven?
Give away all your riches.
And that's what I'm saying to you all who believe that there's some issue. When you're ready to lay down everything you have and follow Christ, let me know.
But brother, if you're talking to me, I give it all away, brother. Everything. I don't care. I don't holding back nothing. Now you're asking me if this conversation is for me. I give it. Listen. Hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. But let me say this to you, whether it is or not. If I was told that give away all my material things and follow me, man, I'm gone. Take all that stuff. Anybody that want it, you have it. Take it. Do what you want to do with it. But I'm going over here. I'm following God. I'm going where He take me. Because somewhere He made a promise, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And if He made a promise, I will never leave you nor forsake you, I'm going to be all right. This material things mean nothing to me, man. It means nothing to me. Huh?
But you said you were asking young people, and that's a horrible way
you flipped it though, brother. Christ. But you flipped it though when you said you, and I took that you as being me, that you was talking to me. So I answered from me.
Like many of you on the line, you can answer the question, because this is one question I posed in my Bible study as well when Jesus was choosing His disciples. Because that particular question was just that. Drop everything. No, don't even go home to your family.
Okay.
Drop everything and come with them.
Let me do this, because me and you we'll play tennis all day long, brother. That's what we do. So
I really, for real, I'm so sorry to interrupt. My name's Sayuri. I gotta respond to this, please. Can I please?
Absolutely,
yes,
absolutely.
Okay, so I wrote a book called Scriptures for Strippers. I used to dance. I used to get money. I gave the money up because I went after God, right? And so people who don't have a relationship with money, who actually never had access to money, feel like you have to pick one, right? And so the point that he's bringing up is so critical to the conversation, because a lot of people won't pick God because they think that means that they're choosing to be broke to prove that they have a relationship with God. And so I just want to say that as I transitioned from that life, I went into insurance because I'm still after money, right? And I'm still trying to maintain not the same lifestyle, but just trying to make sure that I'm comfortable and I'm gauging it based on what I'm earning, right? Financially. But then when I start understanding like the spiritual benefit of having God in my life, to the actual, and then when that goes deeper and you actually connect that with your identity and then your kingdom purpose, then that can actually pay you, which is literally what I do for a living now. I minister to women in strip clubs, and that pays me. And so the point when he was saying that ministry, salvation is free, but ministry costs money. And so when we say, do you want God or money, it literally does pit one against the other. And I think that as he was articulating his point, especially when you're talking to somebody young, because they're very technical and they, in their mind, is black or white, one or the other, you're pitting one against the other. I think it's important to also incorporate and let people know that working for God pays, right? So when I see somebody do something that I know God is telling them to do, I make a point to overpay them and let them know God see you and God is paying you. I don't want the enemy to come in and see you doing all this work and then make you turn against what he see you supposed to do and say, ain't you getting tired of doing this for free? Because this is what happens. This is how the enemy come in and pervert the concept of money. He come in and make it seem like, you see how this stuff you doing for God? You ain't even getting to let me pay you. Let me do it. People of God got to start paying like the enemy pays.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute.
And sis, let me say this to you, sis. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock. So make sure you make your way back. Make sure you make your back as often as you can. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, from 7 until 10. All right.
Okay, I hear you.
Good deal. Good deal. Rico, talk to me, brother.
First off, man, let me say that was a blessing for this sister to call in. Thank you. You knocked it out the park both times. Now, had you not called in or you had been listening in the past, you would have heard somebody say that occupation that you had in the past was acceptable and they didn't find nothing wrong with it as a Christian. And so for some people that feel that way, it's hard for them to grasp this concept of this question. You know, so I'm gonna go back. These children that we talk about are products of their environment. What that boils down to is a lot of times she get it from her mama. So I asked the question earlier. You know, the sister said something earlier about these systems. And see, those systems, they exist. You know, some people don't like to hear about the systems because they want to succeed in it. They caught up in that illusion of the American dream. So I asked the question earlier. Who is really more valuable to mankind, a doctor or Jeff Bezos? But look who's on the Forbes list. Who's more valuable, a doctor or a fashion designer? But look who's on the Forbes list. So that money over everything concept has taken over. And then you go back and you say, well, you know, do the kids choose money over God? Well, they're getting it from their parents because they sat back and they watched the hypocrisy. They heard pastors say, do as I say, but not as I do. Wait a minute. So you telling me, you know what I'm saying, you don't practice what you preach? So we came up in an environment where Superfly became acceptable as somebody that might be desirable or a man that you can go ahead and get with. You know, they glorified him in media. And then before the reality shows, you had lifestyles of the rich and famous. Don't you want to be one? Then you had MTV cribs, you know what I'm saying? So they sell all this extravagance, all this man-made extravagance. But what is more important? Is it God's righteousness or man-made success? What's important? Is it the prosperity in God? So you got a man like Oral Roberts, because it's still hard for somebody to say to put these two together. So you had somebody like Oral Roberts back in the day that said that if he didn't raise $4 million, God was going to strike him down. Ain't that something? Do you really believe that God came to the man and told him, if you don't raise $4 million for students to come to your school, which means you're going to pocket this money, you just really getting this money so you can say, okay, y'all can come on and learn a little something now. I'm going to strike you down. Well, I think somebody said something about they needed some money for a private jet, but they already had one, maybe two, a couple of years ago. So, you know, these children that we're asking this question about, they are products of their environment. They are witnesses to the double speak and the hypocrisy of the people that came before them that told them to do right, but they actually did wrong. They told them to be honorable about their choices, the value system that they influenced on us or that they pushed on us of what success really is. Once again, this quote-unquote success or American dream that somebody else has designed, which is caused to always capitalize and profit off of somebody. So you know what? Some people might not find nothing wrong with you selling a little tail or shaking a little booty, butt naked for some money. because capitalism is good. And as long as you're making money, to some people ain't nothing wrong with it. Even some Christians might go along with that line. It was a blessing you call initiatory, because it's been said on this program plenty of times that I don't see nothing wrong.
Oh Lord, don't you sing, brother? Don't you sing, brother? Look. You were doing good till you started singing, brother. You were doing real good. I was with you, but let's not start singing. Young lady, we got people in the chat. They're actually asking what is the name of your book? Is that something you want to put out there right now, or?
Oh yeah, scripturesforstrippers.com. Both with the S. Yes.
Okay, good deal. Say that one more time.
Scriptures for Strippers.
Good deal.
It's a devotional and it's a guide to the Bible for women in the adult entertainment industry.
Good deal. So make sure y'all go out there and pick up a copy. You know, she got some copies. She got plenty of copies for each and every one of y'all that's listening. All y'all need to buy that. All y'all need to buy that book. Let me go to Joseph. Joseph, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, sir.
Hey, Joseph, we talking.
How you doing?
Hey, doing good, brother. Doing good. Good to have you, man. We're asking the question, man. The young people. We're talking about the young people. They have to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
They have to make a choice. God or money. What do you say they select?
God, my God, because you know, money takes wings and fly away. But this capitalist system that we live in seems to monetize everything. So I had a saying a few years ago that many of us are serving the capitalist Jesus, not the one in the book. It's monetized, you know, and it gets skewed. I was talking to a good friend of mine the other day. We was talking about the money changers. You know, the money changers, they turn everything into a profit. That's why Jesus whooped them out of the temple. You know, because it's all about profits. I was hearing the brother talking about the, you know, marijuana field at the church. I don't know, man. That strike a bad chord with me.
Exactly.
I just don't see it. You know, we put too much emphasis on money and making money more than liberation and, you know, having something of our own where we govern ourselves in a way that is acceptable before God. You know.
Exactly.
That's how I feel about that.
Good deal. Good deal. And that, what's on your heart, sis? Talk to me. And are you with us?
Are you talking to me?
Annette, are you there? Cassandra, go ahead, Cassandra. Annette may be having some issues with
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
You gotta talk, sister. I can't hear you. I don't know if I can't hear you, sister. Go ahead.
I am here.
Yes, ma'am.
What I will say that everybody has something to say, and I think it's valuable. It's very valuable. So what do we do to influence our younger generation? Because I have children. I have a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old. What do I get to how do I raise them to know God? And then how do I raise them to know work? That's what I will say.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. That's good. That's good. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, I definitely, okay, we know that there is a percentage of young people that are sold out for God. We know that we have that. But for the most part, let's just look at our daily newspaper, our daily news. For the most part, we are losing the war for our children, the battle. We're losing the battle for our children because of what we see them doing for money. For money. We see that. How many people saw the 77-year-old woman that was killed yesterday in Buckhead?
Yes.
Young guy stabbed her to death in her garage, right? Okay, so what was that about? Getting her car? He stole a car. He killed a 77-year-old woman for her car. Okay, so we have issues, and we're seeing this on a daily basis.
Yes.
In the news. So what do we do? All of us are doing different things, you know, in our communities. But what more? If somebody, because I want to do more, because I do a lot, but I want to do more. If someone on here has a plan that may be working better than what I'm doing, reaching out individually and reaching out in groups to young people, let me know. And I've said this several times that I've gone into strip clubs, and you know, I was like almost beaten up for, you know, you went in a strip club, what you doing? You're a minister. Well, if they don't come to me, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to them. I'm going to go to the highways and the hedges. That's what the word says, and compel them to come. So until we get off of our heinies and get out there and do the work, our young people will continue to think that money is more important. And I ain't talking about making money the godly way. I ain't talking about that, because that's not what they're doing. They'll stop thinking that money is the way to happiness. Money is the way to God. That is not the picture.
Absolutely. Friday, what's on your heart?
Yes, so thank you. I was like, ooh, because I don't want to forget what I got to say. But what's on my heart is I just want to a couple of parents, and I don't know that I have the space and time to.
Hey, Friday, your line is skipping. Friday, your line is skipping a little bit. Are you talking directly into your phone? It's skipping just a little bit on me.
I am. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Go ahead.
So what I want to say is, particularly to the topic of young people and any young people that will be listening now and rebroadcasting, there's nothing else is bigger than God, and it really ain't on the level. So even though there's other temptations out there, there's other things that may be called God, they ain't even on the same level as Big G God. So they don't even have the same kind of power that he has. When you're down and out, or you're confused or going in different directions, they may feel that way because that's the pull. That you like, oh, but just know that when you really encounter God and you really receive him, there's nothing bigger than him. The devil ain't bigger than him. He never was, and still ain't. He might be prince of the earth, but he ain't bigger than God. So I just want to be very, very, very plain that they're not even on the same level, right? So with that being said, I'll also challenge us as believers, as we have this conversation about money or God, as we're teaching them and being that example, are we tithing? Because you can be God all day and not see the prosperity that you want to see, or not have some of the blessings that you want to have because you've robbed God. And I know that people get tense about that because it's been manipulated so much in the past in our churches, particularly in the southern churches. But, you know, if you're not tithing your tithes and everything to include your money, you might want to not just point out the young people.
Okay. Well, it's about time for us actually to get out of here for today. I want to go to a few more people before we leave. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, it's just a thin line in this society that we sometimes cross the line. It's just your motives. If your motives are twisted, it's going to be more about money, even if you're in ministry. And if your motives is to help somebody, then I think your motives is, see, your gift going to make room for you.
Yes, sir.
I didn't say that. It says that. That's why, Raheem, people help you in what you're doing because you're helping people. So he'll send help for you. You ain't got to worry about that. If you don't ask for anything, somebody gonna ask for you.
Yes, sir.
Because they see the good you do. You know what I'm saying?
To God be the
glory.
glory. Yes,
sir.
It
was all about if you was all about, look, let me go out here and make that bag, and that'll be your downfall.
Mm-hmm.
In your good works.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Let me go to Pastor Mo. Pastor Mo, and Stanley, coming to you next, sir. Pastor Mo, we're talking about in the young generation today. With the young generation today, they have to have a choice. They have to select one or the other. Would they select money or would they select God? What do you say they're going to pick, the young generation of today?
Oh man, wow, that's a lot. The younger generation would select money, and the reason is because most of the world is talking about money versus God.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of young people, they mindset, they grow up with the survival mentality. And the survival mentality is, I gotta have money versus God. And then once I get the money, and then I can go back to God. Not realizing that if you accept Jesus Christ or whatever God you serve, the money will come.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's so important that there's a lot of unlearning when it comes to young people, because they have been stigmatized and been conditioned that the only way you can be successful is if you have money.
Mm-hmm.
But I beg to differ. The only way that you can fulfill your purpose and be successful if you know God.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it seems like, their parents, a lot of what I have learned is that a lot of their parents and grandmothers know God, but they don't teach their grandkids about God. I'm really confused about that.
Mm-hmm.
They grew up going to church, and so many of the elders, they go to church and leave the grandkids and nephews at home. No. They need to drag them to church as well. So the kids, everywhere they go, everything they listen to, it's about money. It's about notoriety. It's about popularity. It's about status, and that's the condition of their mindset. And we have to change that. We have to change that as a people. I yield my time.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me see. I want to go back to. I was going to go to Stanley. Stanley, you said something just now.
Yeah, give Sayuri in my time. That's the young lady that was supposed to be at our meeting a couple weeks ago, and she's going to be a part of this organization that we're creating.
Yes, sir.
And I want her to have the time that I have left, man.
Okay.
I have enjoyed this call. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, young lady. Are you there, Sayuri? Are you there? Oh, I think we just lost her. Wow. I hope she would call. I was told she was going to call back in. We actually.
It might have been accidental.
Yeah.
It might have been accidental. Sometimes we hit it by trying to hit the mute button and we'll hang up.
Okay. I hope. I'm gonna wait a minute or two.
You and I will talk to her after this call.
Okay. Good deal. Now, Stella, did you want to say something? We lost her, brother. So you want to say something before we get out of here?
No, I'll yield my time to Rico.
Rico, he yielded his time to you, brother.
Hey, man, thank you, man. I mean, I really agree with her, all the way through. And like I said, it was a blessing she called in because, she comes from that lifestyle of what she made. Well, she made the decision based off the influence of money. And they say the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yes, sir.
And if it's the root of all evil, we know evil is everything against God. God is good and the devil is evil. So, we see it over time. I go back to talking about Superfly, and then I talk about Luke Skywalker and Two Live Crew, the things that we embraced. I mean, our generation even saw where stripping became acceptable. At one point in time, you were a pariah if you stripped it. You wasn't nobody that was praised, but now it's praised and glorified. But why? Because it's profitable. There's a lot of money to be made in it. So now it's glorified, and they get TV shows off of it, and that's a big influence on society. And I don't think God wanted nothing to do with that. Exactly. I don't think he would be a part of that type of wealth, or you demeaning yourself to gain this man-made idea of what success is. So, man, I think it's just huge, man. I could go ahead and pass it on to somebody else if they want to get it up. I could go ahead and do the ending.
Hold on. No. The young lady.
Hey,
yes.
I'm curious back.
Yeah. I was going to go to it. Absolutely. Young lady, we wanted to close the show with you. What's on your heart?
I'm just thankful and grateful that Stan connected me on the line. I'm grateful for the heart of the people on here. I heard a comment about tithing. You can tithe into a person too. The concept of tithing is making sure you give back.
Mm-hmm.
And, if we were to make sure that we invest in the future and put our money into the youth, they wouldn't be looking for money outside, and then they would see God show up
Mm-hmm.
for them through the use of our money. So when we think about giving to a church, giving to an organization, think about what it is that they will be doing with it, and think about who you see around you, who God is putting you in front of to tithe into, because we are the church. We don't have to go into a building and do all of those things and make sure that we're doing what everybody else is telling us to do. Because if we're leaders and we are following God, then we will lead other people to God. And usually when we use our money to bless people, that gets their attention and they see God that way.
Absolutely. Now I see something now, and I might be wrong. Let me see. Cassandra, are you jumping up and down over there?
I am.
What's on your heart, sis? We closing out with you. What's on your heart?
Man, I have done some flips since this. I keep calling her baby. Since this young lady has been on the line, I have literally been doing flips because she speaks so much of what I talk about all the time and what I do. We got to do the work. And the fact that she is transparent about her life, even through writing this book, it's a phenomenal thing.
Absolutely.
And I definitely would love to partner with her and I guess his name is Stanley.
Yes.
He's working with.
Yes.
I would love to. I don't know whether you guys are here in Atlanta, but I would love to partner with you because I've worked in the sex trafficking and that type of industry for over 20 years with my ministry. So I definitely would love to partner.
Absolutely. Rico, and then we'll make sure that happens. We'll make sure we all have a conversation together. But Rico, what's going on at 3:00 today, sir?
If you missed today's show and would like to hear or see the rebroadcast in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
Good deal. Stanley, you there?
Yes, sir.
If we can get you to do this for us, brother, will you pray us out?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Lord, we thank you for everyone on this call today, Lord. Thank you for everyone under the sound of my voice. We thank you for every household represented, every organization, every church represented. And Lord, we ask that you continue to bless this call. This is an amazing call and for some amazing people. We pray that going into 2023, that you will continue to build us up, bring us together, help us to collaborate so we can reach out to our young people, Lord, and get them on the right track, help them to be productive members of society. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. It's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Then I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:11. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And then we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other. And please, please, please be blessed. Talk to you tonight on Real Men Being Men from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you then. Take care of each other. Smile. We love you.